Charles Manson, the Branch Davidians, Jim Jones and the People's Temple, Heaven's Gate. These are just some of the most feared and morbid cults in America over the last 50 years. And today, we're breaking down all of them. That's right, I've gone through all the cults that have ever existed in America and around the world, and I've broken down all the stories, all the interesting and morbid facts, what the cult leaders have done to amass a following, how they abuse their organizations, and how they eventually were caught, killed, or taken down. If you are interested in the dark, morbid stories of the occult, how leaders consolidate power, how they manipulate their followers, and how they eventually get taken down, this is the episode for you. So, chill out in the tent for a while. Grab a drink with the boys, put your feet up, maybe light one if that's your style, and welcome to camp. What's up, people, and welcome back to camp. This is Tent Talks. This is a show where I explain the most fascinating, interesting, and amazing stories from around the planet to my dumbest friends. And oh boy, tighten up your helmets, ladies and gentlemen, because we got some real crayon eaters in here today. David Sanchez, welcome.
What's up, guys?
You help out with flagrant stuff and do ads, but also just a friend from Florida.
Yeah, it's just a Florida.
I mean, at this point, yeah. Thank you for joining the program for the first time.
I'm honored to be here.
And I would also like to introduce...
I need a theme song, dude.
I mean, yeah, 100%.
God.
You've been on probation for a month.
Yeah, why?
Because everyone hates you. You try to ruin my show.
Why do they hate me?
Because you're being a scumbag.
I haven't read a single comment. What are they saying? What are they possibly saying?
To this day. I mean, it's been like a month and some change.
If I'm drinking, I'm reading those comments, like crying, laughing with people because they're still happening. 2 days ago, they'll be coming up.
You're a piece of shit. I want you to know that, okay?
That's fine.
But today, I've decided to reverse the order against the counsel of all of the people who listen to this program.
All 7 of them.
Yeah. I said, you know what, guys? Overridden. I'm bringing Miles back on. He's going to redeem himself.
Yeah.
I bet you he's going to be very open-minded. He's going to be not so smug. And he's going to...
Don't be so judgmental.
He's going to be... I think he's going to be a little bit more of a truth seeker today.
Yeah.
All right, let's go for it.
And I don't think we're going to be talking about goofy white people, right?
Oh, no. My God. You know who became one just recently?
Who? Me?
You.
I've been goofy. What do you mean?
No, but now you got a kid. You're about to be one of those goofy white parents I was talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's probably true.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to talk you down from some like weird places.
My kid already, I think he's like exhibiting signs
he's
of a past
counting
life.
and shit.
Yeah. Of a past life.
Oh, it was either he's going to be a genius or he's got a past life. So
he's both.
Okay, cool. What's his past life?
He was a smaller baby.
About 5 days ago.
Yeah, he's like, I remember I was in a dark place. It was in the womb. But no, I'm fully radicalized from this moment, from having a child.
Is this the first time you're announcing on your show that you?
Yeah, for all the people who listen to this show, I have a kid. I did it. Not gay.
Not gay.
It's awesome.
The kid?
The kid is not gay either.
Okay.
Neither of us are gay.
Jury's out on that one.
Well, this is the thing. I
want to support your kid if just in case.
I was having this weird dilemma yesterday. I was like, do I move to like a farm upstate or something and bring my kid and raise him up there?
No. Because
on the one hand, I was like, you raise him up there. He's like working on the farm. He's like moving, logs and stuff.
Yeah.
Or something. He's a logger.
Yeah.
We do like illegal logging. Yeah. And like he would kind of earn his stripes that way. Or I was like, do I raise him in the city and make him like a little city kid? And I was like, I think he's more likely to just be on TikTok all day up on the farm and then just become trans or something.
On the farm?
Yeah. I think farm kids have a higher chance of just being weird than someone that grows up in like Park Slope or Brooklyn.
Yeah, I would raise your kid in the city because then they're gonna turn out like Archer.
And Archer's sick. He's kind of a sick, swaggy kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
We're talking about cults.
Nice.
We're talking about the craziest cults in history. I have been fascinated by cults, obviously. Why is the smile? Because I know you guys are up to something, and it's fucking pissing me off.
No, me and Miles love the Colts.
Yeah.
Are we talking about like Peyton Manning?
You think I'm talking about football?
Are we not?
You did the bit so bad.
Yeah, I know, John. We didn't rehearse. We didn't rehearse at all, but I was not going to do it.
I think I'm talking about the Indianapolis football team?
Yes.
The Colts?
Yes, formerly of Baltimore.
I set him up yesterday because I didn't think I was going to be on this pod. I was like, dude, you got to go in and just be like, dude, the craziest Colts. You go, oh, dude, I know the craziest Colts. 06.
Pat McAfee.
Yeah, you guys go back.
Marvin Harrison.
Went into the river.
You go, the Manson family. He goes, no, Manning family. But you at the before.
But what's
the pod,
great is that.
But why would you let him do
pod,
that?
He goes, are we going to do the bit? I was like, all right, well, it's over.
But we didn't rehearse it.
I didn't think I was going to be on here. It was supposed to be you.
Yeah, but I couldn't have done this without you.
That's a good point. I couldn't have done this without Moss either.
Yeah, Colts. Nice.
What's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because I'm coming on the road. That's right. Pottstown, PA. Friday, November 8th, 2024. I'll be at Soul Joel's. You can come see me do 1 hour of stand-up comedy, nothing more and nothing less. It's going to be an amazing time. And if you're not near Pottstown, don't worry, because I'm coming to Stamford, Connecticut. I'm going to New York Comedy Club. That's right. They have a bunch of amazing clubs in the city and also an amazing one in Stamford, Connecticut, November 13th. If you want to come hang out, come hang with me, say what's up. I'll be talking to everybody after the show. We'll be doing an hour of comedy, guys. Stand-up comedy. It's my passion. It's what I love to do when I'm not inside this tent. So come kick it with me. Bunch of crazy stories. We'll have a great time. You can find the link at my Instagram. Get it in the story. I'll put it in the description. I can't wait to see you guys there. Let's get back to the show. Hey guys, really quick. Did you know that on this day in history in 1582, Pope Gregory introduced the Gregorian calendar, which most of the world still uses today? Or that in 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite, into orbit. This event triggered the space race between the USA and the USSR. I learned these facts pretty recently, actually, on the S'more Camp newsletter. That's right, S'more Camp, the inner sanctum. For this kind of show, we do a ton of research. I have different researchers and friends that help me find information, and not everything can make the episode. Either it's like too crazy, it's too like weird or gory, and it will get demonetized on YouTube, or it's just additional and it doesn't always make it, but it always makes it into the S'more Camp Inner Sanctum newsletter. So if you are interested in expanding your mind, learning new information, and being the most interesting person into every room you step into, check it out in the description or this QR code right here. Now let's get back to the show. Do you care about cults? Have you ever been in a cult? Do you know anything about cults?
No, they're cool. They're very cool.
Good. This is a good start.
They're interesting. I went to a Buddhist temple once that was kind of cultish. But
It's just a religion.
It isn't a white Christian.
No, I went. Some guy I used to work out with named Aki, this Japanese guy.
That's not true.
I swear to God, I saw his number.
The Aki way?
The Aki way. Small
Sashimi? With soy sauce?
But
the Aki way is he flips a shrimp in his hat.
Dance a shrimp.
And he invited me to the Buddhist temple every Saturday. And then one that week, he's like, "You like the Strokes, right?" I'm like, "They're my favorite." He's like, "Well, the bass player runs the temple with me. And you should come next time."
You know the Strokes, right? Well, I'm going to you off in the basement of this Buddhist temple.
But I went, and it was a bunch of people crying, and it felt cultish.
Oh, wow.
It felt very cultish. I love Buddhism, though.
Yeah, I feel like you don't. I feel like you just said it was a cult.
No.
But this, you bring me up into a great question. What is the difference between a cult and religion?
Size.
Size matters.
Size matters.
I think there's a couple things. According to the definition from, I don't know, Google.
Yeah.
US Cov.
Authoritarian leadership. That would make something a cult versus a religion. You got to have like one guy that's like, "Hey, I'm exerting myself into your life."
Jesus Christ, okay.
I don't think he's authoritarian.
Yeah, he's not authoritarian.
He flipped tables one time.
Yeah, he had that. I like that story in the Bible. He had that one meltdown in the market.
Yeah.
He had a meltdown?
Oh, he had a big meltdown.
Legendary moment.
Fire.
Yeah.
He goes in the temple. They're all selling goods in the temple, and he starts flipping shit. And he's like, "You really selling shit in my father's
went
house?"
Alex Jones.
Oh, we gotta like. I think that'd be a sick video. Is like, that scene.
Do punked where we go into Publix, dress as Jesus, and start flipping shit.
No, that'd be a sick scene in a movie. It sounds like a guy pissed off that his like his thing is being used poorly.
You know they made Jesus is.
Yeah,
he's the most famous guy ever.
There's a book, but it's not very well written.
There's Passion of the Christ.
What the? He's like, dude, they should make like a religion about this guy. This
No,
guy
they
is-
should make a better book about this guy.
Well, you know something? This is why everybody hates you.
Yep.
Isolation is another big component of cults. So kind of like pulling people away from their families. Some religions do that.
Yeah.
Unorthodox beliefs, like some type of like apocalyptic visions, extreme ideologies. Some religions do that. That's kind of a crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're explaining religion right now.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah, you can be the bad guy.
I'll be the bad guy.
Yeah, what the hell?
That's fine.
No, Mark, you sound so smart, dude. This is
Control
awesome.
of information.
Mm-hmm.
And basically having like one sole leader who is effectively calling himself a prophet in some capacity.
So it sounds like it's just like a dictator over a small subset of people.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Okay.
Yeah, size wasn't.
No, size is generally true. I mean, some people disagree, but like every early religion, even the ones we have now, if you look at them like way back in the day, you'd be like, this is kind of a cult.
Yeah.
But then they get big enough and get some infrastructure and they're not maybe so like autocratic and you're like, oh, maybe this is all right.
How many Mormons are there in the world? It can't be a lot.
Couple million.
I think Mill?
And they're doing real hard work and more. So, yeah, I bet there's more. Yeah, of course.
Over under 5 mil.
Under.
Over.
Worldwide?
Worldwide? Over.
Under. Easy. Where do Mormons exist outside of the U.S.?
Everywhere. That's their whole point.
17 million.
Yeah, thank you.
Worldwide?
Yeah.
Suck my...
How many Jews are there worldwide?
Okay, see, this is
Over,
how it starts. All of our conversations always go this way.
There's like not that many Jewish
Over,
people
under?
worldwide.
Over under 50 million.
30 was
Under.
my guess.
Under.
I'm going under.
You also have to forget the Catholics dominate this shit.
What?
What is it?
Is that just in America? Because this seems very small.
Exactly. There's not that many Jews
of
in
the whole
world.
Yeah. How many?
They're all in Boca Raton or Israel.
15.2 million Jews.
Wow, there's more Mormons.
Wait, say it again?
15.2.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
More Mormons.
You're more likely to run into a Mormon than a Jew. What are the odds?
Well, it depends on where you are. We go 10 blocks south.
Yeah.
And we're
very likely
very likely
to get run. Maybe they might hit you. So they don't drive that good. South
They're
Miles.
horrible drivers.
No, they're horrible drivers.
So you got to be careful. Head on a swivel down there.
Okay, so Colts.
Colts.
We're going through the 10 craziest ones.
Cool.
Have you
Hell
heard
yeah.
of the Anthill kids?
No.
Some of these cults are crazy.
No, they covered Smooth Criminal.
Oh, Alien Anthill kids?
Yeah, Alien Ant Hellcats.
Yeah, they're a great band. I mean, what? I like that. I thought that was nice.
It's just funny he looked at me for the joke.
We talked about it 2 weeks ago.
You looked at me for the joke.
You went to trivia with your mom in Sarasota a month ago.
Oh, and that was a
Got
question?
second place.
There's a big alien.
And I could have got first place, and I put Alien Ant Farm, and for some reason I thought they changed the title from Smooth Criminal to Annie, Are You Okay? In my head.
Fucking bozo.
Got it wrong.
What?
Yeah, I got it wrong.
What was the question? Like, what is...
They played the song, and then they were like, what's the song? And my mom's like, I think it's Smooth Criminal. I was like, no, I swear this band changed the title like as a cover joke. And I got it wrong. But we did get second place.
What?
crushed.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. I just
Because
felt-
you saw how he did last episode. He's like, no, I'm right.
Oh,
yeah.
that
He's
is a good
like,
point.
no, mom, you don't know what you're talking about.
That is a good point. Actually,
I was 5 years
yeah,
old when this came out.
goofy
My
white
memory's
lady. You don't know
impeccable.
anything about Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not cultured.
yeah.
Speaking of which, did they survive? Is everyone alive?
Yeah, everyone's alive. I still have not talked to my father. No, I talked to him late last night. He was like, it was crazy. I slept in the hallway, and I was like, nice.
Did he have to sleep in the hallway?
The second half of the storm apparently was like pretty brutes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. My grandmother's still alive, but she thinks that the government's withholding FEMA funds for illegal immigrants.
Oh, yeah.
I have an uncle who said, "Why are there no pictures out of the Yucatan Peninsula of this hurricane?"
Interesting point.
What?
He thinks it got started.
By Mexico. They're not sending their best. They're sending hurricanes.
It's like a U.S. government ops that we started a hurricane to hit Florida twice.
I'm willing to learn about this theory, but I also want to learn about this
I'm
cult.
open. I'm open.
We're distracted.
I literally texted my mom yesterday. I said, hey, do you have any information about the government creating storms? And
goes,
she sent me a whole doc. She was like, I'm not even joking. Look at this. She was like, yeah, look
If
at
you
this.
asked for your birth certificate, what would come faster? If you asked those two questions.
There's 3 photos of me as a baby. There's hundreds of threads. She's like, looking at this guy, the Markets, Vigilant Fox. She's like, you got to get Dane Wigington on. Get Dane Wigington, and he's going to explain to you why. And I'm like, all right, maybe this shit's probably fucking true. That's the crazy thing.
Also, crazy last name.
This is just 3 Floridians talking.
Yeah.
This is Our 3 families are from different parts of Florida, but we all have the same beliefs.
Yeah.
The People's Temple.
The People's Temple.
Have you heard of that one?
Florida.
Yes.
What do you know about that?
No, Jim Jones.
Jim Jones.
Jim Jones went to Guinea. No.
Yeah.
Fuck
You
yeah.
fucking are nailing this.
All right, perfect.
Have you heard of this? This is the famous one.
I know how it ends.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
This is Jonestown's Massacre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. I
This
didn't know
is
the
wild.
original name. I thought that was Children of God or something.
Mm.
All right.
People's Temple. I mean, it's kind of a good title. Like most of these cults have great brand.
Yeah.
I thought about this. I was joking with a friend recently about like Colts have the coolest names.
Mhm.
It's like awesome.
Yeah, the big ones. I mean, we're gonna go through some
Marvin
of these.
Harrison.
Yeah, fuck. I was going to say
I was trying to do a setup.
We're editing all this. This guy Jim Jones, he founded not the rapper Jim Jones. This is a different guy. Founded the People's Temple in 1955.
Mike Jones?
And guess where he founded this cult?
Florida?
Wait, what?
You mean Mike?
No, I mean Jim Jones
I don't know the rapper
from
Jim
Dipset.
Jones. Oh, is that his real name?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I
let's talk about Mike Jones.
I thought you were doing a joke about who?
Mike Jones?
Mike Jones.
Who?
Mike
No.
Jones.
Oh wow, It's like we planned it.
We're never gonna get through this.
Guess where this guy set up this cult? Just if you had to take a wild guess.
Florida.
No, Indianapolis, Indiana.
Woo!
Home of the Colts. And he had a message of racial equality. When I first read this, I thought it was racial inequality. I was like, hang on a second.
Yeah.
It's a strange platform to run on. But no, racial equality and social justice. And he painted a vision for a utopian society where everyone could live in harmony, free from discrimination. It's hard to make a cult back in the day. This is in like the 50s and 60s. He's just got to go door to door and get people to join his cult. Be like, hey, we don't hate black people. And they're like, all right, fine, we'll join.
Do you think they peaked at a certain point, Colts?
Yeah. Well, I think they're digital now. I talked to this guy Jennings, and I think I told you about it later. And he's like, yeah, they're just all Facebook mom groups.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This Utah mom thing.
I bet you there's more cults now.
I mean, like fucking QAnon.
Yeah.
Like they have some great points.
But I feel like Colts back in the day used to fucking ride for them.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
it's a little bit more like, I'm in a cult.
Yeah, like they would never, storm the Capitol on Jan 6th.
Yeah.
You can't do that today.
Mm.
So this is older than I expected. I, for some reason, thought Jonestown was like the 90s.
Well, it started in 55. How long did they...
But it really started cracking around 78. So
Jesus Christ, 23 years?
yeah.
Okay.
The people like being in a cult. That's what they don't tell you about cults, is that shit is fire.
There's usually that tipping point where like everything's great.
And then everyone you know dies.
And then everyone you know dies.
But right before that is where it's the best.
Yeah.
It's darkest after the dawn. Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Anyway, basically he goes on to do this little church and he's like, growing his persona. He's extremely charismatic. And then he's got to move it. And I think he ends up moving it to California and then he's got to move it again. I think they're in San Francisco and he's like, you know what, fuck it, we're moving it.
Because of prosecution from the local area? Okay.
And so they got to move it to Guyana in the mid-1970s.
This is one of those three northeast provinces of like South America.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he's got a lot of people. Like, I got to look up the exact numbers, but it's like 900 followers that go with him from America to Guyana.
Wow.
And just from door-to-door sales.
Literally.
And he's fucking like all of them.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why you'd be a cult leader and not smash.
I think that's the whole benefit of being a cult leader is that you're so impressionable on these young women that you get to just fuck them.
I wonder if...
Sounds like a good gig.
Yeah, I wonder if Hinge like stopped cults because it's like, oh, I can just get pussy easier.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't have to go to Guyana and murder everybody,
Yeah.
It seems way easier just to go on Hinge. So basically he goes down to Guyana, which is kind of like, yo, Guyana, like, get your shit together. Why are you just letting anyone go in there and start a cult?
I think they had other things to deal with.
Like what?
Colonization.
Yeah, colonialism.
This is colonization. It's like, hey, we're going to come into your land and kill everybody. A bunch of white people.
that's not what they...
Yeah, they brought their own to kill this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually kind of
And that wasn't the end goal.
Say, hey, we're going to bring our own
They're like,
people.
sure, fucking who cares?
All right.
There's a field over there.
Don't kill our guys. And basically, when they're in Guyana, this is where things go crazy. He creates like this atmosphere of constant surveillance. People are like afraid for their lives. And then it basically culminates in November 1978. Congressional delegates visited Jonestown because they got a tip that there was like abuse happening in a cult. Like, what are the odds? They go down there.
They have 900 people. Were they sort of like a known, like famous cult before this in America? Because they were
like
moving,
news coverage.
Sort of like in local communities, but obviously news is much more fragmented.
Yeah.
I don't think they're like mainstream, like,
Okay.
Sunday night ABC news, but like the Indianapolis Star is covering
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And then
Yeah,
like
for
the
sure.
San Francisco Gazette is
Yeah.
like these motherfuckers.
Okay.
And then the Guyana fucking coconut squirrel. I don't know what they have down there. Sorry, Guyana. But basically they have this delegate go down there. The second the delegate lands on the plane, I bet you they're having a conversation on the plane, like, okay, we're going to go down. This isn't a cult. Let's just go see and exonerate them and keep it moving. The second they land,
Just bullets flying.
everyone gets shot.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They attacked all the officials.
The delegates get murdered. And then they're like, oh,
wow.
shit. They try to fly away. They mow them down. They like send like soldiers from the cult to go shoot them in Guyana. Kill them on the tarmac.
On the tarmac.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
On the tarmac.
I've seen that. Have you ever seen what that area looks like? What Jonestown looked like? It's literally just a landing strip and then like just tents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
Yeah.
In the middle of like the jungle.
It's like Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Like, if you just put a DJ there,
Yeah. Be way more.
But it ended like the country festival in Vegas. Fuck. Thought that would
what, a
kill.
false flag? Is that what you mean? Let's look into that, okay? Let's change this whole
Have you
episode.
ever looked into that?
Too much.
Too much. It's
Please go back to
A crazy guy, an arms deal gone wrong. Who knows? MK Ultra victim? Coming next.
Wait, I didn't know they killed the... So this is where it bucks off, basically.
yeah,
Jason Aldean was on stage. And they,
So
oh, you're talking about
yeah,
Big
they
Joe's
land the plane,
Yeah.
and they already had heard that there's a congressional delegate coming.
Yes.
And they like rally the boys, go out there with guns, shoot the
Murder
congressional...
all of them on the tarmac.
point blank.
Jesus Christ.
There's like women, there's like assistants that are like secretaries to the delegate or some shit. They get mowed down. Like, I think the pilots get, like, everyone just gets clipped. Like, they just kill everyone.
And then I imagine news gets back to America.
Yeah. I mean, then it's like a national story.
Yeah,
like,
and then you send the actual, like, yeah.
and then they're like, all right, let's send the actual boys down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send the, let's form a banana company.
Yeah.
Go into Central America and maybe we can take it over. No, they were like, all right, let's go down there and see what the fuck's going on.
Yep.
And that is basically the exact moment that Jones decided, you know what? We're going to make a concoction, a cyanide-laced flavor aid of grape drink.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to just have a sip.
It actually wasn't Kool-Aid.
It wasn't Kool-Aid, which is kind
Great branding from Kool-Aid.
or the worst.
No, of course, because it
Don't
has to
drink
be
the
good. They
Kool-Aid.
weren't drinking Kool-Aid, and now the phrase is, don't drink the Kool-Aid for the rest of time.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're a Kool-Aid brand, you're like, no, drink Kool-Aid.
I think any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. I mean, both points do make sense that, like, it is bad, but also...
yeah.
Also good. So the Jonestown guy hears that the military's coming.
Well, they don't actually have plans to send the military, but after he's like, oh, we're under investigation and we just murdered U.S. delegates,
yeah,
we got to all go see God immediately.
That's a little preemptive, honestly. I thought they were like banging down the door. Like,
you thought it was going to be Waco.
Yeah.
Branch
No, they literally
Davidians.
just stepped off the plane. They could have played it cool for an hour and a half. Weekend at Bernie style, like, hey, everything's fine. And then they would have left.
Yeah.
So basically within the same weekend, they kill everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So this is sort of like I'm not even joking, like preemptive a little bit.
Yeah. Things go fast. I'm assuming that they probably had other tips like, hey, the Guyanese government's kind of curious. Like a lot of people are looking into you.
Got it. They also, yeah.
I can't imagine like everything was great, harmony. Like there's
also probably like levels of escalation that were about to happen. The American government calls and says, hey, can you send like a couple paramilitary guys down there now?
Yeah.
Like start securing the border. Like, yeah, okay.
crazy.
I have a question. Were these cult members majority black?
I don't know what the racial demographics are. There are a handful of black people because again, his like platform is like racial unity and parity. So like it was attractive, but
it just sounds weird that it's like, hey, we're gonna live in a.
it's Kool-Aid. You fucking racist
No,
piece of shit.
I was waiting.
You fucking scumbag.
I didn't say
Why
that.
can't you just
I was
let
gonna say
something be?
really
Why can't
profound.
you just let something be a historical
No,
fact?
it's weird that he's preaching racial equality and then just gets like 90% white people to live in the same community.
45% of Jonestown's residents were black women. 70% of Jonestown's population was black.
Okay, there you go. Then this makes sense.
But fucked up though.
But how's it fucked up? He was trying to give them like a better life.
He
It makes
murdered
sense.
900 black people.
I mean, what was their afterlife thing? Like there had to be like if
Yeah,
we,
what was the promise?
Let me find out.
Also, Mark, did you, and I might be mixing this up, didn't you give like a high school report on Jonestown that went pretty south?
I did, and I was in a bad place. Emotionally and mentally, I was just in a really dark spot
What
in my
happened
time.
again?
racially insensitive comment.
No, basically, we had to give.
This is a great story.
I'm in like a scholarship group.
Oh yeah, this is in college, yeah?
I'm in
Oh,
college.
is it, okay.
I love this.
And to get scholarship money, we had to do this program, okay, where it's like a social justice initiative. Where
Basically,
like,
take like another class.
you
correct?
take another class, but then you
Yeah.
also do an X amount of volunteering hours.
Yeah.
Basically, on probation. Okay, like
Okay,
I just
yeah,
have to
yeah.
like serve the community for a certain amount of hours. And I volunteered at Coalition for the Homeless, which is a great organization in Orlando, Florida, that helps homeless and
Yeah, you
unhoused
used to
people.
do stand-up sets for homeless people, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter how I helped them.
No, but you did.
Okay, it
You
doesn't
do
matter.
bits.
It doesn't matter.
Dude, I bring Mark to the sauna and he's doing bits.
Oh yeah, I was working stuff out.
But didn't you actually do stand-up, like actual like stand-up
Yes.
nights
Yeah,
at the
it was
homeless
great.
shelter?
Yeah.
For the homeless?
That's how I do it. I
That
would
sounds
say,
so fun.
hey,
Is there any video of this?
there's probably some video.
We have to find this.
There is some video, and some of the guys walked out. I remember during
Where are they going?
Marcus Crespo's set. He's in the homeless shelter, and Marcus Crespo looks like he could be homeless. Also, they were like, "Oh, one of us, one of the members of the
homeless
community."
people at your comedy set's hilarious.
He walks out, busts out of the room, and he's like, "This is bullshit. I can't believe this." And I was like, "What's wrong, man?" And he's like, "The profanity."
Wow.
And I was like, "You do heroin?" He's like, "I'm not gonna let this."
Homeless
filth
people
come
are
out of
pretty
my
stuck
mouth."
up. I remember I gave my leftovers to a homeless guy, and he's like, "Did you eat this?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I don't want it."
Well, that's not.
You
stuck
still
up.
have dignity as a homeless person. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna eat what you ate.
Yeah,
I've smelled your fingers,
how
bro.
proud are you that you're not going to take free food?
Right? How much of was
Yeah.
left?
Half.
What
you
kind
remember,
of
you
food?
ever eaten
What
that?
was it?
It was Fresh Kitchen from Florida. You've eaten at Fresh Kitchen.
But was there like bites out of it and shit?
No, it's like a bowl.
That's so weird that you're thinking that like because
Say it.
you're totally in the wrong on this one.
But every time I give a homeless guy weed, they're like, "Yeah, sure." But food, they just don't take.
decent plan? I kind of like the weed thing. You kind of brought me back along there.
It's
Yeah,
just
I'm
crazy.
back on.
All right. Sorry, please tell your story that David keeps interrupting.
You interrupted. Go.
Basically, in this class, we had to do a presentation as a great leader.
Okay.
Hey, do a presentation about a great leader.
Oh God.
And I was like, it would be funny to do like a bad leader. So I went down the list and I was like, oh, Can't do that
start at
guy.
the top. You start at the top.
yeah,
You
of
went-
course.
you went
I started
Hitler.
with him. Well,
Yeah,
I'm not going to
yeah.
say who, okay? But I started with a Viennese guy and I was like, well, I can't do him.
Viennese.
And then I went down the list until I got to Jim Jones.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the rapper? And I was like, oh, no, it's actually a cult leader. So I go with that. And I procrastinated on the whole event.
Yeah.
I did not prep for it at all. And then I was like, oh, shit.
Did you know what he did though?
I knew he was a bad guy.
But like the whole story.
No.
Okay, that's fine.
But I had to submit who I was doing it on the week before. So I submitted. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do Jim Jones. He's a pastor, a preacher. And they were like, all right, great. And then the day rolls
The person who you submitted it to didn't know.
I think they were like, all right, sure, this is Mark being
It's
wild.
a generic name as well. Like,
Yeah, right?
yeah, it could be.
And then I don't do anything until the night before. And then I'm like, oh shit, I have to write a whole research paper and do an entire presentation in character. So I decide to start at like 2 a.m, stayed up until like 10 a.m, didn't sleep at all, walk into the classroom sleep deprived, wearing a collar, like a pastor's collar.
Oh, love it.
And I give the presentation
Did you do the hair?
as Jim Jones. Yeah. I did the whole thing. I look exactly like him.
Drinks, purple drink.
I almost did, but I was like, I think this is crossing a line.
Oh, that'd be
that
so
crossed my own personal barrier. And yeah, there's a photograph of me as Jim Jones. So that might be my blackface.
when
moment.
when you were doing the research and writing the paper the night before, was there at any moment you were like,
No, you're too committed at that point.
Fuck.
Yes, every time.
But
Yeah.
you're also you're pot committed. Like you have to play.
And I'm like, I could switch it around, but I don't know if someone else already has Mahatma Gandhi.
Yeah.
So I can't just be like, oh, I'm doing Gandhi now. And it's like, oh, we have 3 Gandhis already.
like, oh, Gandhi touched kids?
I should go back to Jim Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know what their afterlife was. It was probably pretty sick if you're going to get 900 people to jump off the deep end.
Have you ever heard his final speech?
Oh, it's
It's
haunting.
eerie.
Haunting.
Yeah, I've heard
So
this.
eerie.
Is this the one where they all put blankets over themselves and like there's photos inside the bunkhouses?
You're thinking of Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate. Okay,
We're gonna get to
sorry.
that one. Don't even worry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's eerie the way he does the whole
Are there?
thing.
I've seen photos of this. They're just bodies laying
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, it's literally
Like out in the
Woodstock
fields.
99, but everyone's dead.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, people died at Woodstock 99.
How many people?
Some. Not,
No,
Jonestown.
900.
Over under 5.
Under 5. Dude, that's
No, I think, dude, Woodstock 99 was a disaster.
5.
You're going to go. right
I'm
over.
under. No, I'm not playing. This is such a fun day of over unders.
Yeah. Sponsored by Prize Pick.
3 deaths occurred at Woodstock 99.
Oh, okay. That's 3 too many.
David DeRosa collapsed in the crowd while watching Metallica and
It's a good
died
way
of hypothermia.
It's a good way to go. out.
It's
a fucking
I thought it was
sick
the
way to-
back way. All right.
Yeah, I also like that his whole obituary rhymes.
Can you name every group that died singing?
DeRosa at Metallica of hypothermia.
Yeah.
Tara Weaver was struck and killed by a car leaving the concert, and then Scott Stanley died of cardiac arrest at a campsite from heat exhaustion. How do you die of heat
The
exhaustion
second
and
one shouldn't
hypothermia?
count.
Yeah, the second one is just
Just a vehicular
shit
manslaughter.
luck.
That's
Yeah.
just an accident.
Happened at the concert.
Happened at the concert.
After leaving. Doesn't count.
It's like someone dying on 9/11 in a hospital uptown.
That
Oh,
happened.
there's a crazy one.
There's a wild one. There's a guy.
There's 2, I think.
There's 3 technically, but the one is crazy where this guy on September 11th is murdered uptown. Like he's like near Harlem.
Okay.
And he's just like shot in the back and then ran away. Nothing was stolen from him. Nothing was taken from him. And basically the prevailing theory is that this guy, he was like a Polish immigrant or something, was wearing like a camo jacket and saw obviously the tragedy of September 11th, was like, I'm going to go uptown and kind of just maybe, you know, get some air, maybe give some space to this. And some guy saw him, was like, oh, are you a terrorist? You have a weird accent and you're wearing camo. Bang, headshot.
Whoever killed him is the dumbest person alive.
There's a woman who like went missing the same day.
Yeah, Sneha.
Yeah.
Wait, did you talk about this one specifically?
Yeah.
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 That was such a good episode.
Oh, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean,
really
compared to this one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that one was a banger.
I can't wait to see the comments. No, but going back to his speech, there's this song that I really like, and they intro it with a line from his, you know what I'm talking about? Go Outside by, I think the band's called the Colts. And it's, if we can't live in peace, then we will die in peace. And it's just so weird.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Like convincing that many people to kill themselves is a dark thing.
Yeah, you're probably a great leader. And I got an A on the project. So anyway, Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate. This one is just a fan favorite. Okay, Heaven's Gate is just a classic. You've probably seen some of the branding stuff.
I've never heard of it.
Let me show you. You've never heard of Heaven's Gate?
I've never heard of Heaven's Gate. No.
Really?
You've probably
They have
seen
sick merch.
like this guy.
I've never seen that guy. in my
You've
life.
never seen that guy?
No.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
He looks
insane.
like a stand-up guy though.
This right here.
Yeah, the merch is
Lil
fire.
Uzi
The
Vert, I'm
logo.
pretty sure, made an album cover inspired
It's
by Heaven's
oh
Gate.
my god, Eternal Take.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is based off of this logo.
The 90s.
Such a
like,
banging
sort of-
album.
And yeah, Heaven's Gate was basically like they call it technically a UFO religion.
Okay. Yeah.
Sick, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, they were a popular sort of cult in the 1970s. This guy, Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles. Great names.
Great names.
They blended elements of Christianity, New Age beliefs, and peculiar fascination with extraterrestrial life.
Okay.
And formed this like new little religion. And this guy, Applewhite, was like a real charismatic sort of guy. He himself is a prophet from God.
Nice.
And he had the key to humanity's salvation. Basically, the group's teachings were this. The earth is a temporary vessel. I believe that.
Yeah.
And true believers could transcend to a higher existence aboard a spacecraft hidden behind the Hale-Bopp comet,
There it is. Yeah.
which became the focal point of their apocalyptic predictions. Members believed that their earthly bodies were mere containers for their souls. I agree with this.
Yeah.
And to ascend to the next level, they needed to shed their physical forms. I'm on board.
The second point really throws it for a loop.
What? Shed your physical form?
No, the comment.
Yeah, sure, the comet. But, you can look past that.
Where did they start?
I wish.
Dude, if it was in Indianapolis, that would be insane. I mean, let me find out. Let me tell you right now.
Florida.
I don't think we got any good ones.
Their headquarters were originally in New Mexico, and then they moved to San Diego,
What's
Also-
near New Mexico?
Area 52.
Area.
Roswell. Is the Hale-Bopp comet Halley's comet? Am I incorrect in that?
I think so.
I mean,
Without searching it or Googling it, other than the fact that they're two different names, I'm going to
Yeah,
go
those
ahead
are
and
the different
say
names.
incorrect.
I don't know. I'm just wondering if like it's shortened.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I don't know.
How
Me
does-
neither.
how do
I
you?
have no idea.
How many people were in this cult?
Over under.
No, we're not doing over under.
Over under 350.
Well, the last one was 900.
Yeah. What do you want? Over under.
Make it like let's do over under 500.
No. 350 is also in. All right. 500. What do you want?
500 under. I would refuse to believe that you can convince 500 people that in a next life you're going to live on a comet.
I'm going
Behind a comet.
Behind a comet.
behind.
What do you mean
I'm going-
behind? Are they on it or behind it?
I don't.
You're getting
Are they
caught
on the
up in
dark side of the
details.
comet?
39 adherents.
Oh, that's
21 women, 18 men between the ages of 26 and 72 are believed to be the ones who died in 3 groups over successive days at the end of this cult's existence.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say 39 people died at the height of the cult. Probably there was like some more people. But I mean, 39 to actually go through to the end.
And how
It's
do
not
they
bad.
how do they convince these people? Like, who are these people that are getting convinced? Is there like a maybe like a makeup? I know you talked to this other guy that explained sort of like cults, maybe newer ones, but like, what would be the general through line of a cult, maybe like member?
I think it depends on the cult. I think there is a perception that like people that join cults are like losers that have nothing going for them or just like
Sounds about right.
out of their minds.
Yeah.
No, I would imagine it's almost like you're looking for meaning, and this is what you found.
Yeah,
Maybe-
and oftentimes they're just like regular, normal people.
Yeah,
that are looking for community, that are kind of disenfranchised with their current religious upbringing.
I also imagine they get pulled, like they might be, yeah, it's almost like, yeah.
But they also have cult tactics of like love bombing and shit that like once you get into the cult. Have you heard of this idea of like love bombing?
David's a cult leader?
I'm a cult leader.
Have you heard of this? Like
love bombing? Yeah, I do it every day.
Okay, good. But like, so like you basically get introduced in this thing by a friend, and a lot of these cults basically have recruitment tactics where they're like, it's almost like MLM. Like every person you get in, you'll get like more benefits with the leader, and you'll have closer proximity. Yada yada.
Take them out for drinks, get coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's usually then there's usually like an inner cult. I'm sorry, like an inner group within like the first group you get in.
Yeah, they have the C-suite.
Yeah, it's usually masked in the idea that you're like, dude, just join us. Like we just get coffee and talk about stuff.
Yeah.
And then you find out like, oh, there's actually like a cooler inner group that I really want to be a part of. And the way to get into there is like bring more people to the coffee thing, like
and be a more devout follower, donate more money.
It's a pyramid scheme.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what they were doing.
The Heaven's Gate people.
Yeah, and so they were like going out trying to find people in San Diego too. Join a cult in San Diego, that's the dumbest thing ever.
As Hakash said. Killing yourself in San Diego.
Yeah, but don't do that. Their members, this is where like the thing in pop culture that got a lot of attention. They lived a very strict lifestyle with austere rules. They adopted
rules?
Austerity measures.
I don't know what that is.
It's like simple or bare bones, you could say.
Yeah.
They adopted unisex clothing and adhered to a regimented schedule that included meditation, communal living, and the renunciation of personal attachments.
Sounds like Buddhism.
They're literally all wearing the same Nike tracksuit and Nike. I swear to God.
They didn't wear Nike tracksuits.
This is 100% true.
Can I see?
I will show you.
There's other cool stuff.
As the years passed, the isolation grew. They lived on the fringe of society, moving from place to place, and they always connected through the internet where they disseminated their beliefs. Heaven Gate operated as a sort of digital commune, one of like the first cults that like really like exploited the internet, and using technology to recruit new members and spread their message of impending transformation.
This started in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then they made it to the internet age.
Yeah, it was founded in the early 1970s.
That's awesome.
What?
Website's still up.
Really?
This is like one of those like fascinating like 1990s websites.
Are they still
that
going?
Is still existing.
Do they have like a bad ending?
Look at
that's so great.
This and like Space Jam are like the two still existing.
This and MJ, baby. This looks like the mini clip website. You ever
that's what I'm
mini?
saying. So if you go to the Space Jam one, also it's that like really great 90s internet aesthetic.
Yeah,
Web
great.
1, baby.
I mean, look, you could buy some of their videotapes still. Videotape 1, Last Chance to Evacuate Earth before it's recycled.
Wow. Oh yeah, you have to imagine they would like, if you join this, you pay money, you get a VHS, you'd put the VHS in, and then like sort of get indoctrinated. And
have you seen the videos of the guy?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Let me.
But for some reason I forget that those videos of the guy that's like talking to you was given to you not digitally like a link. You know what I mean? Like because of the way that I interact with it, I forget that they would have had to send.
Synonymous with the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven.
You pop this in your VHS.
We're going to talk to you about the most urgent thing that is on our mind, and what we suspect is the most...
Little editing would have helped, but...
Yeah.
I think a little preparation would have helped. How do you not know the title of the video?
It is awesome that they kept all of this.
I've been there.
I love like that this is all data.
It's a little time capsule.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's insane.
This sounds goofy, but it doesn't sound bad.
Well, in March 1997, the Hale-Bopp Comet, okay, it's not the Halley's Comet, obviously, duh. The Hale-Bopp Comet made its closest approach to Earth. Applewhite convinced his followers that this is their moment of ascension, the time to leave their earthly vessels behind. They meticulously planned an act of mass suicide. 39 members participated in the ritual that involved taking a lethal dose of phenobarbital mixed with applesauce and washed down with vodka. They wore identical outfits, brandishing armband badges and symbolizing their commitment to the group. As they lay lifeless, the scene was haunting. A serene facade that masked the underlying horror of what had transpired. Some members even placed plastic bags over their head as a grim touch to ensure their departure from the physical world. Their bodies were discovered in their bunk beds, a stark contrast to the utopian vision Applewhite had
Have you seen
promised.
these pictures?
No.
They're like all in like army barrack bunks laying there with blankets all put over them. So
Fitted
like,
up.
they are wearing the tracksuits maybe, but they all have blankets over them. You can't see them.
Jesus.
But apparently like some of them would die first.
They got the Nikes.
Nikes on my feet make my sight so complete. I mean, it's like crazy. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, and they were all like in bunk beds, and they had blankets on them. And then the first group would put the blankets on the second group, and then the second group would drink, or I'm sorry, do whatever it was that killed them, and then so on and so forth.
All of them just got Nikes fitted the fuck up.
I mean, how creepy. Like, you respond to like a crime scene.
What kind of Nikes are they?
I don't know, but they go hard as hell.
Yeah, it would be sick.
They
That'd
don't
be
got LeBron's
great. That'd
on.
be such a good, like, low effort Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Lined up purple just over, like, on your shoulders. People are like, what are you? And you're like, Heaven's Gate, baby.
Museum of Death away team.
That's so tough.
It is tough, right?
It's tough. I mean, the fits are great. The slogan, I think the branding, the website's great. But like, why does every cult have to have like this mass suicide at the end? Because these guys could still be rolling today.
I'd
Like,
be in it.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh, wait, you're telling me there's a tracksuit involved?
we can wear baggy jeans and Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
I'm
Catholicism is so strict. I mean, only the priest gets to dress up.
But they all, most like, dude, I took that Zen. I'm trying to, holy shit. I thought I was going to yak right there.
Are you seeing stuff right now?
Have you ever seen Miles put in his in?
Yeah, one time.
It's like this.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you fucking pull
this way.
We have video footage. We'll run the tapes
Run it
back.
Don't do that.
No, we will.
Christos.
Instant replay. Instant replay immediately.
Fuck.
All right.
Was there any, I'm sorry, before we end, was there any like crazy fallout to that? Like,
It was just the comet coming by, and not like this is it.
Yeah.
are there like still people that sort of rock with it? Like,
I don't know. Let's find out.
Go on Fortune.
Are there
like, was it a
people?
global phenomenon people talked about right after they killed themselves?
Yeah.
Was there a lot of news coverage leading up to it?
Nothing leading up to it.
Oh, okay.
And no, there's no longer any members of Heaven's Gate.
you guys do those things?
No, they just got 3 more.
Yeah, no, it looks like there's no more members of Heaven's Gate, and that was basically it.
And then the news covered it heavy.
Yeah.
What year did they do this suicide?
97.
97.
I was here. I remember it.
I was just about to be here. Maybe I was the comet.
Whoa. Do you have a past life regression?
Out of respect for Miles, no.
Thank you.
I was going to say it sounds awesome and believable. We should definitely
And super believable. And we'll do another episode just on David's past life. Branch Davidians. These
I like
guys
these ones.
bang.
These ones
Never
are cool.
heard of them.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because you should be able to access the entire internet, no matter what country you're in. And furthermore, you should be able to protect the things you're searching on the internet and the people you're talking to, because who knows what type of, scammers are out there trying to access your data. Who knows who's spying on you? Maybe it's the government. Who knows? All right. Just protect yourself and get access to the full internet. And the best way to do that is with Proton VPN. That's the VPN I use. I'm telling you, sometimes I'm traveling, I'm on the road, I'm in Europe, I'm in Australia, we're in Abu Dhabi, and I can't get access to all the shows that I watch on Netflix. I can't get access to all the YouTube videos that I normally watch because they're only available in America, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Maybe you're in America and there's shows on Netflix in Europe that you can watch, but you can't watch all of them. You have to download 6 different apps, But now with Proton VPN, all you got to do is download the VPN. It's super easy to use, super intuitive, and you're going to get access to the entire internet. And not only are you going to get access to the entire internet to watch all the shows you want, you're also going to do it safely and perfectly encrypted and private. I'm telling you, this is the best VPN. It was founded in 2014 by a bunch of guys I met at CERN in Switzerland. I mean, these are smart dudes that are interested in privacy and giving people access to everything the internet has to offer. So if you're interested in getting access to the full internet in a safe and untracked way, you're going to check out protonvpn.com/campgagnon. That's right, protonvpn.com/campgagnon, Gagnon. And the viewers that use that promo code will get up to 64% off when you use the promo code. Now let's get back to the show. What's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because it's 2024 and it's time to talk about something important. When you are seriously hurt, your injury could be worth millions. Yes, that's right. The world is a crazy place, and one person's negligence can result in another's settlement. And that's why I got to talk to you about Morgan & Morgan. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and over 1,000 lawyers. Yes, these are the big boys. You know them, you see their billboards all over the world. If you ever drove down I-90 from Florida to New York, I'm telling you, you've seen the billboards, all right? Have you ever watched a UFC fight? You've seen them right on the banner. I'm telling you, these are the biggest guys in the game, all right? With over $20 billion recovered for over 500,000 clients, Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. The annoying thing with most attorneys is that in order to submit a claim, you got to call them up, you got to talk to their people, you got to go back and forth on emails, you got to hope that they see it. They might charge you just to even look at their claim. Here's the cool thing with Morgan & Morgan. With 8 clicks or less, you can submit a claim, and one of their licensed attorneys will take a look at it and get back to you. It's that easy. It's like ordering something off Amazon. It's just a couple clicks. You can submit your claim very easily and cheap. Yeah, how about $0? That's how much it costs to submit a claim with Morgan & Morgan. Extremely easy, no fee required. So, if you are ever injured, you can go check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. That's right, unless they win for you. Unless they fight and get you compensation, you're not paying a single dollar. That's a pretty good deal. So, for more information, go to forthepeople.com/Gagnon. That's correct, forthepeople.com/Gagnon, or dial pound law, that's pound 529 from your cell phone. That's for the people, forthepeople.com/Gagnon, or dial pound law, pound 529 from your cell phone. This is a paid advertisement. Now let's get back to the show after this short disclaimer. These guys are wild, all right?
Great
Basically,
name also.
in the heart of Texas, in Waco, a splinter group from Seventh-day Adventist, which, for the record, no disrespect to Seventh-day Adventists, but a lot of these cults have branched off from them. But Seventh-day Adventists maybe branched off from Catholicism, so at the end of the day, I take responsibility.
Are these the really racist ones?
No, Seventh-day Adventists are Jehovah's Witnesses, correct?
Different, I think.
Isn't there like some YouTube series about
Over under? Let's find out. I think it is different.
I don't think so. But Branch Davidians, A, awesome name. B, there's a lot of great documentaries about this one. This one is like heavily covered.
The second you said Waco, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, they're different.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of differences. I won't take us down the path, but yeah, Seventh-day Adventist. I knew Seventh-day Adventists growing up.
Yeah, we had like church down the street.
Yeah, it's like a pretty like regular kind of thing.
I don't know if they're in South Florida, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they made it all the way down I-4. I don't know if they got all the way there. Yeah,
Say my name. Where am I from?
Miami.
No. Plantation.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is, I told you, that's where my parents lived.
Yeah.
And we used to play them in soccer. They would fuck us up. Plantation FC or fucking
yeah.
That might have been
nasty. Nah, I doubt it.
No, I played up all the time.
Nah,
I wouldn't play.
yeah.
I'd be on the bench.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you something about Plantation FC. A lot of Dominicans, a lot of Haitians.
A lot of Haitians.
And they were nasty.
Nasty.
I would play them and be like, how is Haiti not the best country in the world at soccer? Like, how do they not win the World Cup every
That's
year?
really funny.
Because I'm getting wrecked by these guys.
That's actually really funny.
It's insane. We would play Brazilian teams and beat them and be like, yeah, these guys are fun.
No, Brazilian Americans.
Run-of-the-mill Broward Haitian is the greatest soccer player I've ever played in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're fast, dude.
Shout out Andrew Booth.
Who's that?
USL. Some guy I played with. And Jonathan Lewis, MLS player.
Oh,
My
wow.
boy.
Can you please go back to the Colts?
Anyway, Branch Davidians, all right, in the heart of Waco, Texas, splinter group from the Seventh-day Adventists. They have probably the most crazy ending of any cult story ever. It gets led later, and like it starts in like the 50s, but then really like gets going with this guy, David Koresh.
Another David.
1980s, Koresh takes over the group, and the group starts to gain some notoriety. He believes that he was the final prophet of God. He interpreted the Bible in a way that resonated deeply with his followers, and he preached that the end of the world is imminent and only those who followed him would be saved. This message of impending doom ignited a fire in his followers, drawing them into a world of fervent devotion and unyielding loyalty. Life within the compound, known as the Mount Carmel Center in Waco, was pretty intense and pretty isolating. He had strict control over his followers, daily routines, an environment where obedience was paramount, and believers believed that they were part of a divine plan preparing for a final battle between good and evil, a belief that intensified as Koresh's teachings became increasingly apocalyptic. And then they even went beyond spirituality. This is where he's like, okay, we need to stockpile weapons, and we need to like stockpile food, because when the end of the world happens, we're going to be the ones that need to repopulate. Because of all the weapons that they stockpiled, they basically had this giant armory in their compound in Waco, and this drew the attention of federal authorities, who then began to investigate the group for illegal activities.
ATF, correct?
1993, the ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives team.
It's a great group.
Which is a great combo.
That's all you need.
They're like, hey, the whiskey, Zin, guns guys.
Yeah.
All right, let's just put them all on a thing and let them figure it out. They attempted to execute a search warrant on the compound. What followed...
For sawed-off shotguns, correct?
That was what they were going in for. They were
because there was like a sting setup operation where they
sold them sawed-off shotguns.
Yes, exactly.
And
ATF
then,
sort of like, I don't want to like disparage them, but they sort of like set them up a little bit.
Oklahoma City bomber right here, dude. Do you know that's tied in with this?
Yeah.
We'll get that.
Now we're in my. This is fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know the pre stuff.
Yeah.
Like the 70s and stuff. But this,
So they eventually get kind of set up by the ATF, but also they're doing fuck shit. I think there's like abuse happening. Whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's wild shit.
they basically do like a little cult RICO where they're like, hey, let's just sell them some shotguns and then go do a search warrant for these shotguns that we set them up with. They basically go in with these guys, and this results in the death of 4 ATF agents and 6 branch Davidians. They have like a huge shootout.
Yeah.
The ATF agents are walking through the woods, don't identify themselves, if I'm correct.
Mhm.
And 2 of the Waco guys were also walking through the woods with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
They start a shootout, and the woman gets shot,
Maybe.
Naturally.
if I'm not mistaken. And the ATF guys get shot, and then all hell breaks loose. But in the beginning, it was like almost it was less. It wasn't like they were like in the beginning they didn't have 150 like agents waiting out front for them.
Yeah, it was a couple guys, it was a couple girls.
It was like 4.
It was like Thanksgiving.
It was like 4.
It's like ended the same way too.
Yeah, exactly.
There was like 4 ATF agents that were like sort of walking through the woods, like sort of scoping it out and stuff. And the other guys also were out there. And then it turned sort of south.
And then that
Sort of.
basically started a 51-day standoff between the group and the federal law enforcement.
And these people like bunkered up in their little houses.
Literally.
I have just that one image in my head of like cloths covering the windows and just
Yeah, they locked down.
yeah. And this was big national news.
Yeah, 51 days. And they're like, every day, it was like almost like the first OJ, where they're like, every day there's like
News coverage.
ongoing news, like today in the Waco standoff.
Supporters showed up from other like churches and different things that were like, you guys fucking killed that woman. Because now there's like information leaking
Yeah.
to the press about what actually happened. And there's like, there was something going on about trying to get the body of the woman either like back from the ATF or down from the compound
Mhm.
to other supporters down there and not the ATF. And there was like a lot of negotiations going on. They wanted to bring up like water and food. He wanted a phone to call someone. I wish I would have done a little bit more. I didn't do any research for this, but I wish I would have like
I did
brushed up.
0.
We're fucking around. It's
I
fine.
know. But no, it's a really fascinating, like, it's an awesome story. Like,
Yeah,
there's
it's insane.
documentaries on this one, and I highly recommend, like, watching some of them. It's really fascinating. Even, like, the whole ATF, like, selling them shotgun thing was pretty disputed. This whole thing is really fascinating.
They planted like a bag of weed in a car, and they're like, "Oh,
No, they did buy the guns, but, like, they, like, scratched off some of the numbers when they had sold the guns to the people, which makes it even more illegal. It's just, I don't know. The whole thing's really, really interesting. Sorry to go on a diatribe there.
Basically, after 51 days, the head of the FBI is like, all right, you can go in and raid it. Because they're just at a standoff. Because again, there's all this social pressure where it's like, oh, is this like a freedom of religion thing? Like this is just like a church that you guys are trying to take down because you can't control it, da-da-da-da. Or are they doing some terrible cult shit and we got to get rid of them? It's a whole thing until finally 51 days later, they say, all right, go ahead. Inside the compound, as negotiations are getting fucked up, Koresh, his influence is like intensifying. Like I could only imagine that month being in the compound while you're in a standoff with the federal government.
Yeah.
And basically he's just like getting his people fired up. Like, yo, this is the end. This is part of the divine plan. This is what God wants. They're persecuting us because we're right. And you need to deepen your commitment to me and to our belief system. And the outside world doesn't matter. Like they're trying to kill you. April 19th, 1993. Remember that date, April 19th. April 19th, the FBI launched a final assault on the compound. This was what could be considered as a catastrophic fire that engulfed Mount Carmel, resulting in the deaths of 79 branch Davidians, including
Burn their shit.
a lot of women and children.
Yeah.
Scene was devastating, and it basically ended the saga, and obviously the Waco branch of the branch Davidians dissolved, and it changed like people's fundamental belief in like the government. They're like, oh, you guys just did like a terror attack against your citizens, is what people felt. They were like, this cult wasn't doing anything wrong. They were a religious group, and then you guys set them up and then tried to kill them.
What were they doing wrong?
Let's find out.
Abuse and shit.
Were these kids born into the cult?
A lot of them.
I believe so.
Yeah, a lot of them were. Some kids got dragged in.
Oh God.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was never any confirmation because obviously everyone died.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what they assumed to be happening is that basically this guy, David Koresh, was like marrying and banging everyone in there and was committing child abuse. And that is what contributed to the siege by the ATF. Basically, this guy, David Koresh, suggested that he had ties to the biblical King David and Cyrus the Great. Koresh is the Hebrew version of the name Cyrus. And he wanted to create a lineage of new world leaders, which is why he was impregnating and banging everyone. So
what should the ATF have done differently? Because obviously they fucked it up. You can't kill women and children, but like, if the people are just kind of like secluding themselves in houses, and you need to like stop this abuse.
The beginning is where it sort of all went south, and then like the escalation was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know necessarily how they would do it different. If it was up to me, I'd somehow like try to isolate the leader, and then like parse through the membership and be like, okay, who's a victim, and then who's enabling the victimization, and then put everyone on trial.
But no one knew what they were doing. Like, did they know who the leader was?
I believe so, yes. Because Koresh was like somewhat public, being like, yeah, I'm a prophet.
He did like a radio show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Did they not have snipers back then? They had to.
I mean, probably it was 93.
Yeah, so why do an all-out assault? Just have a couple snipers on a hill. And
they definitely did have snipers. They had like 200 agents or something on the ground. And this is the militarization of the police, David. If you want to hear the real reasoning of all of this.
So then, flash forward, there's a guy called the Oklahoma City Bomber.
Yeah.
Real name?
Timothy McVeigh.
Yes. And he was kind of like inspired by this event, but also kind of radicalized by it. He was like, oh, the government is like overstepping. These guys are fucked up and what they're doing is wrong. And we got to take them out. And so he basically then blows up a postal office in Oklahoma City.
What year?
2 years later to the day.
April 19th.
April 19th.
1995.
95. And he was inspired by them.
What was the Oklahoma City bombing? I know the name, but I don't know what happened.
This guy rented a U-Haul truck, drove it to the base of the postal office building in Oklahoma City, if I'm not mistaken. It's like it was like, let's say like it's postal office, if I'm not mistaken. It's a giant building. He parked the U-Haul truck at the base of it and blew it up. And it was like him trying to get back at the government. It was like his...
By getting the fucking postal office?
Yeah. I imagine it's like he's trying to make a statement against like bureaucracy or like towards the federal government in a way. So he blows it up. But the sad part was he blew it up at a section of the building. Not only the sad part, but like one of the sadder parts is he blew it up at a section of the building that was closest to the daycare that was in the building.
168 people died.
Yeah, it's a huge...
168
Have you never seen the photo of the front of the building?
I've seen that photo. I just don't know, like, I didn't know the story behind it or like how he did it.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that's exactly what he did. He drove a U-Haul to the base of it.
And he stayed with the ship.
Blew it up. No,
he got
went
arrested.
on the run.
Oh, he's pussy.
And I think that's... Didn't he get caught like on a random traffic stop? Maybe I'm mixing that up.
It's always funny how these like guys who commit these atrocities that get away, they get caught just doing the stupidest shit.
Yeah, who's the guy that was making the Unabomber? Got caught.
Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah, got caught because he wrote words in a specific way in his letters, and his brother noticed like...
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ted Kaczynski was writing the letters, and he wrote letters in his manifesto in very specific ways. And he made a deal that he would get his manifesto published in like the New York Times or like the Washington Post or something, and he would stop killing people, whatever. There was misspellings and words that were only specifically used by the brother of the Unabomber, and he noticed it. And he sort of told his wife, he's like, hey, I've got some feelings that like my crazy brother might have been the guy who did this. And he ended up telling his wife, and his wife convinced him to tell like the government. And there was actually like, I think Ted Kaczynski got caught because an IRS agent, weirdly enough, like had noticed the same patterns and was the one who escalated it through the government.
Well, that's the thing with like these serial killers that would do like send mail to the police. They would always like leave a hint because like part of them like wants to get caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I said postal office. It kind of had postal connections and shit. It was just a federal building.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
thank
it's just,
God, dude. If it was the postal
and it
office.
contained regional offices for Social Security, Department of Housing, United States Secret Service, Veteran Affairs, DEA.
Got it. So it's a massive, giant building, probably for the Southwest.
Yeah.
That is like the headquarters of a region of the United States.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the FBI killed kids is the end of that cult.
ATF killed kids.
I thought it was the FBI that did the last raid.
No, ATF, but I think the FBI called them in.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, we went on a lot of...
Yeah, I like that rant, though.
That was a fun little tangent.
It was a fun little tangent.
I want to talk to you guys about the Anthill kids. This is maybe the most. This is the
most.
most messed up one that I feel like no one knows anything about.
The
Oh,
Anthill
really?
Kids. Okay.
This one is insane. Hold on,
4
let
for
me-
4 on names, by the way.
Yeah.
These are phenomenal names.
Bangers. They're all bangers.
Yeah.
Recent or not recent?
Relatively recent.
Okay.
It was like the 80s.
Oh, okay.
It's insane. So let me just kind of go through this part, and then I'm gonna have to pull up some other stuff because like I was even reading deeper into this. I was like, this is it's crazy.
We won't interrupt you.
A fringe spiritual movement known as the Anthill Cult or the Anthill Kids Cult. Basically, it started by this guy in Canada. Okay,
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's nice to have a Canadian one, right?
Cross border. Let's go.
This guy, Roch Thériault. His first name is Roch, R-O-C-H.
That's fire.
Fire.
Um,
Another banger.
he basically like drops out of school and starts teaching himself the Old Testament. And he's convinced that a war between good and evil is about to come. He converted to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, lived by their rules, no tobacco, no unhealthy food, no drugs. He was a charismatic man. And he basically gets kicked out of Seventh-day Adventism and is basically like, you know what? I'm going to start my own church out in the woods. He's like a pastor in this church, and he's like super popular. Everyone loves him. And he eventually gets ousted. And say again?
Do you know what part of Canada?
I believe he starts in Montreal or in Quebec,
Oh, cool.
Nice.
and then eventually goes to New Brunswick or something.
Okay.
Yeah, Seventh-day Adventists kicked him out for his weird behavior, and he basically is like, all right, guys, you know what? We're going to start drinking, and we're going to the woods.
Fuck yeah.
And he goes out to the woods. He gets like 12 people to follow him out there. A lot of them are women, and
The party.
and he's just banging all of them.
Nice.
And he's basically like, we need to repopulate the world, okay?
Labatt Blues with the boys. That's awesome, dude.
Wait, what?
Bad blues.
It's Labatt Blues. It's like a Canadian beer.
No, mostly women. Mostly
Oh,
women.
nice.
And they basically start to go out to this like plot of
Party.
land
Yeah.
that's like sort of like not federal. It's just like a random plot of land, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they start building, and he's like, all right, we're gonna build. And he just kind of sat back and let everyone else build, which is where he came up with the name Anthill, because he's like, yo, you guys are like ants. Like we're all communal.
And
This guy
he's the
fucks
Roach.
these.
Exactly.
Papa Roach.
Exactly. He's Papa Roach.
He fucks these girls. He's like, all right, get to work.
And yeah, they start building like little like tents and cabins and shit.
Yeah.
And that's where they live. He ends up having within 2 years like 22 kids with these like 10 members of the cult.
You know who's the new Anthill King? Anthony Edwards.
I got it, but I'm gonna let you eat that.
He just had another kid. He has 4 baby mamas
Is
in
he
the last
really?
2 years.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards is fucking left and right.
Oh wow.
That's
Yeah.
the new Ant. That's King Ant right there, baby.
This guy's basically just a maniac.
Yeah, sounds like it.
He's basically a maniac, gets arrested, goes to prison, gets out of prison, and then goes back to his cult.
Does he escape prison, or he just gets released?
He gets released.
Okay.
Would they were still anting it up? Like
Yeah.
the hill's still hilling?
His hill was hilling.
Wow.
And he
Alright.
gets arrested for like child abuse. And then basically like the way it goes down initially, they hire this guy who's like a lunatic drug addict to be like babysitter for all the kids. One of the kids is crying. He ends up like beating the shit out of the kid. And then this guy's like, actually, I can heal the kid.
And beats the shit out of him.
Roach is like, I can heal the kid. So he tries to heal the kid dies. And then they're like, we need to put the babysitter on trial. So they bring this guy into trial. They find him guilty and they castrate him.
Did they put him
Whoa.
on like their little communal trial?
Their communal trial.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking oh wow. So they castrate him within
Roach, the leader of the cult, is
within
the one
their
that,
little society. They have like a
Yes.
law system.
and they
Okay.
have their own trial
Wow.
with him and all of his like concubines, basically.
Okay.
And they
Just his
find
bitches.
him guilty,
Yeah.
and then they castrate him with a knife. They cut his dick off.
Wow. No, that would be
They had to cut the balls off.
yeah, castration.
I think the whole thing gets cut
Root
off.
to stem.
Yeah.
That's he's a eunuch now.
Yes. And then he runs away. He's able to escape and goes to federal authorities and is like, hey, this guy cut my dick off.
Prove it.
Come on, show it. And they're like, you weren't born this way. He's like, no, I didn't cut it off, I swear.
No, they didn't cut it off.
They arrest him. He goes to prison, and then eventually they release him. And he
Roach.
goes back to his cult. And he's
Crazy
like,
that you can cut a guy's dick and balls off and go to prison for a short enough time that when you come back, no one has left your like sphere of influence.
it's crazy.
Prove it. Let's see it. I've always been so curious about what it looks like after you cut it off.
Do you think you have access to the internet, correct?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna Google it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see. I want you to one
Don't
day
be
just
so
come in and be
curious.
like, "Yo, look.
Ew, don't be so curious and not.
How do you pee?"
It's still there. You still got like a urethra.
But, like, I want to know what the urethra looks like with no dick.
Just a hole, probably. It probably doesn't.
You definitely can't control its flow.
No, I don't think it even flows. I don't think it's laminar flow anymore. I think it's more like a...
Like how women piss. It's just like a water fountain.
Yeah, it's like you're at a water park in the
like
bucket.
The bucket finally
Yeah,
filled up.
exactly.
It'd be so funny if you drink water and it immediately just comes out. That'd be a good party gag.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. I've done that. Drink a beer while you're peeing.
Oh, that's one of the greatest feelings of being drunk.
Yeah. When he gets out, this is when things go crazy.
Okay.
For the third time he gets out.
You think the first time he only goes to prison once.
Okay.
Well, he goes to prison twice, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Basically, he goes back to his cult and then just gets more abusive, and just like the level of abuse. I don't even know if I'm allowed to like read this. Like, it's insane. Basically, if people tried to like leave the commune, he would tie them up and then just like literally just torture them,
Like flog them and shit, and like
beyond like, and he would force other members to do the torture. And so he's just literally in the woods just torturing people for like years.
King Joffrey.
It's the most, I think, in my opinion, from the ones I've read about, the most like disturbing one. One of his wives basically says like, "Oh, I have a stomach ache." He says, "I can fix your stomach ache."
At some point, these women or anyone who's in this cult has got to be like, you're like 0 for 5 on these healings.
Right?
Well, they also can't leave, sadly.
The thing is, they could have when he's in prison.
Yeah,
I get
true.
the psychological torture, but like they had it out. What were they wearing?
They actually all had to wear tunics. They had to wear matching tunics.
No
Like,
Nike fit?
No Nike.
3 stripes.
This is in the this is in the 80s.
Yeah.
This is the most fucked up part. We have to cut this out.
We can say this better for YouTube. You're not supposed to laugh, dude.
It's so fucking ridiculous.
So they open up her jar.
Yeah.
Let's do it for YouTube.
Okay, let's do now let's do it for YouTube.
They crack open the coconut.
Yeah.
And then they put his life force into the coconut.
His lime.
Yeah.
The coconut. They put
That's great. Yeah, so he jacks it.
He put his pee-pee in her coke. And she doesn't come back to life.
I can't
Really?
believe it.
And then one of the women is like so disturbed by
Does
this.
make sense.
One
Does
of
make
his
sense.
one of his other wives sees this and is like, "Yo, this is crazy." He ends up basically like abusing her and like chops off her arm.
Yeah.
He amputates her arm. And this is when she's like, "You know what? I've had enough. This has gone too far." Okay?
She's about to not stand for it.
She's not going to stand for it. She's not even going to leave. Her name was Eileen, actually. She flees the commune, goes to the police, like runs through the woods, like
Sort of
not very fast.
sort of in one direction. She's just leaning to the left.
a little at an angle. But she eventually gets to the police, and
She's alive. There's no doubt in my mind.
probably, I don't know.
No, there's no. I'll bet you.
I've looked into this. A lot of the survivors and shit, like you can't find them much on them. Thank God. Like they have hopefully gone to like therapy
hopefully
or some shit.
They have lives that they can live.
Best case is they're dead.
Honestly, I don't know. It's like so effed up. I'm like, it's insane.
This episode was like kind of jovial.
Did you just say effed up?
I don't want to cuss. I don't want to be rude.
This was so freaked up, dude.
What the frick were they doing?
What the frick?
This episode was so fun. They're like racial equality and Kool-Aid. What a tasty drink. And now it's just amputation.
I thought that part was effed up too, to be honest.
Can you get back to the effed up parts, dude?
Yeah.
He's just abusing everyone. One of the women basically escapes, goes to the police, and then he gets arrested. And he's in prison. And then even in prison, like you would think, oh, that's got to be the end. He like has conjugal visits with the remaining female members.
That's crazy. We let people do that.
Right?
That sounds like the least craziest part of the story, that they would still fuck with him. You know, like they would visit him. Of course, they're their guy.
Fucking him. In the
What else are they going to do?
just crazy.
Yeah.
He ends up getting put into Dorchester Penitentiary, a Canadian prison.
Oh, don't you know Dorchester?
Oh, they're going to say Dorchester in Boston.
No, he's not in Boston. He's in Canada. And they reject his parole. They're like, no, you can't go on parole. And he pleads guilty to second-degree murder for Solange Ballard. This is the one with the stomach ache. And then gets life in prison.
Nice.
He tries to sell his artwork once he's in prison at murderauction.com in 2009.
Murderauction.com.
He's like trying to sell his stuff, and they're like, no, you can't sell your drawings and your poetry. And he's like, oh, come on.
In America, there's like laws against this. You can't profit off of your notoriety in prison.
No, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, apparently you can't do it in Canada either. They try to do it, and they're like, no.
Okay.
And then finally in 2011, fairly recent, at the age of 63, he was murdered by his cellmate. This guy in prison for life for murdering someone else, stabs him in the neck, and then says, the piece of shit is down. Here's the knife. I sliced him up.
Bar.
Yeah, it is a fucking bar.
Kind of the hero of the whole story is this murderer.
They should free that guy.
Look into it at least.
Yeah.
See how much bad he did and then how much good he did.
What do you
Just
think they
kinda
call
level it
him at prison? Now?
The guy who killed him?
Yeah. Raid. Ant killer.
All right. I'm not dapping you up for that.
I got a laugh from Christos.
This guy doesn't even speak English. Christos is
I got an
fully
out of
Greek.
the room laugh for that one.
The delay ones are always the best.
But yeah, that's probably like the most messed up cult that I've ever read.
The next one is happier.
Yeah, the next one's happier.
What is it?
We're going to Japan. Hey, what's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because I want to talk to you about the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. Yes, we are talking about Prize Picks. This is a super fun fantasy game that will help you make some money while you're watching sports and make the games more interesting. Unless you're me, which I've lost every time. Don't. I'm not good at this game. I don't know sports. Okay. I don't know how to play, but maybe you do know how to play. And if you are interested in learning how to play, it's real easy. You just pick more or less on like 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you guess properly, you're going to see the winnings roll right in. All right, guys, let's see what we got going on this week. It is a big sports week for baseball specifically. We got the Mets and the Yankees in their respective league championship series. And if it's up to me, you know how I play. I'm going Judge. I'm hammering that more. He's due to break out. All right, this guy's a beast. And Lindor, I'm gonna hit the more on that one too. And it's not just baseball. There's a ton of other things going on. We got baseball, obviously, but we also got a little bit of football going on. We got a little bit of Premier League soccer going on. So if you're interested, go to prizepicks.com/camp. That's right. Use the promo code CAMP. And for listeners of this show, here's how it works. You sign up using the promo code, deposit and place your first lineup, and $50 in promo funds will appear in your account instantly. That's right. When you play your first $5 lineup, you don't even need to win your lineup to receive a $50 bonus. So even if you lose like me, you can keep on playing. prizepicks.com/camp. Check it out. Let's get back to the show. What's up, guys? We're going to take a break really quick because I got to tell you about an amazing service known as Blue Chew. That's right. Blue Chew is a service that basically delivers this chewable tablet to your door whenever you want, once a week, once a month. I don't even know if they could do it that frequently, but they'll send it right to your door. You don't have to go to the doctor and have some awkward conversation with some guy in a lab coat, some dude that's judging you, probably, if I had to guess. With Blue Chew, it's super discreet. The packaging is discreet. It's just a couple questions on their website, and they will send you chewable tablets that have basically the same active ingredients as like a Viagra or a Cialis, but at the fraction of the cost and in a chewable form. It's great. It truly is. I mean, one time I was in the woods and we were cold and it was raining, and I pitched a tent with the help of Blue Chew, and everyone gathered under it, and we were safe, and it saved me and a lot of lonely people. So if you're interested in Blue Chew, here's how you get it. You're going to go to bluechew.com and use the promo code GAGNON. That's right, GAGNON. It's kind of funny. Gagnon has the promo code. I don't know why exactly, but it is funny. And you're going to receive your first month for free. That's right. BlueChew.com. Use the promo code Gagnon. Check it out. Blue Chew. Let's get back to the show. You ever heard of the Shinrikyo?
You got this.
Have you heard of this guy?
No, I haven't.
Have you heard of sarin gas?
Yeah.
No.
This is where it all started.
He created it?
He's the one that did the sarin gas attacks in Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
It was a cult guy.
Wow, I never knew this.
Crazy, right? I thought it was like Yakuza or some shit.
Yeah,
No.
I thought it was like a terrorism thing.
So it got put on this guy. I'm assuming that he was like, they had ample evidence. But basically this guy, Shoko Asahara, in 1984, begins a spiritual movement that morphs into this cult, this like apocalyptic prophecies, just like everything we've seen so far. He basically blends like Hinduism and Buddhism with Christian like eschatology and paints a picture of this impending apocalypse. His followers are drawn to his claims of enlightenment and divine purpose, believing that they could achieve spiritual transcendence through meditation, devotion, and ultimately making love to this guy.
We have a
so
gay
fascinating that they're all basically the same through line. End of the world's coming.
Yeah.
People for some reason like latch onto this.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what that is. Like, do you want do you have like this sense of impending doom that you're looking to like place somewhere? Is it this like apocalyptic thing? It seems to be candy to these people in a way.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like trauma mixed in with like the super charismatic guy that starts to just like pour into you on a very deeply personal basis. Like you're going to like these churches.
And then you just start believing him.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then you just like follow him. And then you have community and like then you have kids with him.
Yeah.
And then now you're like your whole life is tied up with this one person. You're basically going to listen to whatever he says.
Yeah, okay. For some reason, I first thought that they're like, oh, dude, this guy says the world's ending. I feel the world's also ending.
Yeah. And they do similar tactics where like they love bomb them, but then if you try to leave, then they do the opposite of love bombing, which the worst case is torture or it's like ostracization.
Ostracization. You don't really have a friend group. You also want this person more than anything else.
Yeah.
And if they start to even just do like the slightest bit of coldness to you, I imagine it feels like the end of the world.
Yeah, so there's like Stockholm syndrome.
It's an abusive relationship where like one day he's, chastising you or torturing you. Then the next day he's like, I love you so much. You're
the best of the group.
You're going to have the child that's going to take over the group and you're the most special one, da, 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 da. And like, you're just going back and forth. And like, I think your brain literally gets like warped from this guy, like loving you and hating you. It's like every toxic relationship, like domestic abuse acts the same exact way.
Okay.
And then he's basically like taking this through the 80s into the 90s and today.
Does he say when the world's going to end? Are they like one of the like final date people, or is it like I only know? You know
I think they have a couple days that go wrong, and he's like, "Oh, there's a miscalculation." Okay. Which again, anytime these doomsday cults have days that they say the world is going to end and then it doesn't end, weirdly the group gets stronger.
Yeah,
because people leave, but then the people that stay are more devout.
That makes sense.
It's bizarre. So like you basically like cull the herd every single time you do like one of these false prophecies.
Yeah.
So you have 2 or 3 of them, and now you have like the most devout
distilled liquor.
Yeah, you have the dabs of the group.
Not to make a political point, but that could be true about like, Jan 6, we're overthrowing democracy. And then the second you don't do it, it's like,
weren't you there?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're the guy. I feel like you want to bring up J6, but like you were on the front lines.
I have an alibi.
Stand back and stand by. That was David's whole Twitter feed. The group begins stockpiling weapons, specifically biological and chemical weapons, believing that a catastrophic event would trigger their ascension to a higher place of existence.
This is interesting. So in a society where there aren't access to a lot of guns, the stockpiling is a different version of stockpiling.
Exactly. So they can't really access weapons. And there's also an element of like Japanese culture based off of like one documentary I saw that like there's so much rigidity where it's like, okay, you're going to graduate school and you're going to do really good in school. And then you're going to go work at this corporation. And then you're going to get married and you're going to have 3 kids and that's going to be your life. And he kind of gave them an out. He was like, hey, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
You can live in this commune where everyone's
society.
happy and there's like a higher utopia that you can enter into.
Got it.
And so I think he's finding people that are disenfranchised with that.
So they're stockpiling biological and chemical weapons.
Yeah.
Wow. Like what?
So sarin gas is the one that they eventually use.
Okay.
March 20th, 1995, they carry out a coordinated attack on the Tokyo subway system. They release sarin gas, a nerve agent, in several carriages during rush hour, resulting in the death of 13 people and injuring thousands. Wow. The attack was horrific, chaotic, leaving survivors grappling with their psychological and physical scars of that day. Panic erupts, commuters are struggling to breathe, their lives are shattered in an instant by a group that had once claimed to seek enlightenment. Basically, afterwards, there's like a huge police crackdown. They find the guy. They were already investigating him for like other stuff and like stockpiling all these like biological weapons. And then they're eventually able to like arrest him. He faces 27 counts of murder in 13 separate indictments. Wow. And they basically give him the charge of trying to overthrow the government and install himself in the position as Emperor of Japan.
What year is this?
This is
93, 95?
Something like that.
Yeah,
1995.
Yeah. Okay.
And
the charge of trying to instill your or whatever, put yourself in as emperor, seems like a stretch, but I imagine that's how you throw the book at him.
But also I think a lot of his doctrine was like, hey, I'm going to become emperor of Japan.
Got it.
And there's like a nuclear war, and in order to stop nuclear war, we need to get ourselves in charge. And so we need to like cause, chaos within the government.
Got it.
And this was like the biggest trial in Japanese history, called the trial of the century. During the trial, a bunch of disciples testify against him, and he was found guilty of 13 of the 17 charges, including a family murder of other people that were inside the group before this event even happened.
Wow.
And then 4 charges were dropped.
He wasn't a good cult leader then, because his own people testified against him.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I guess people have flipped. And then in 2004, he's sentenced to death.
Wow.
How?
I don't know.
Catan?
Seppuku?
Yeah. What is that called?
Seppuku.
Yeah. Harikari.
Harikari.
During much of the trials, he doesn't really say anything. He's like silent, mutters to himself, and is just like sitting in the courtroom. Like he looks insane. Like long-haired Asian, I always said is like my favorite kind of guy.
Oh, I love him.
Kind of a G.
Yeah.
Minus all the murdering. And then he eventually like is able to, appeal his execution and then dies in 2018.
Oh, in prison.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, nice. So he beat the case.
In a way. Oh, no, he actually gets executed.
In 2018.
In 2018 by hanging, along with 6 other cult members.
Oh,
How do they do executions in America?
Lethal injection, but they're trying to bring back, not trying, there's the possibility they bring back the shooting one.
Yeah, I think the last firing squad was like in the 90s.
Yeah, so
it was like Utah or something.
Apparently it's more humane to use a firing squad is like one of the arguments that's being used in America right now to bring back firing squads. Maybe in certain states, I don't know if it's federally. But yeah, federal ones are lethal injection.
So, but like firing squads, like you give, let's say, like 5 people
6
guns,
people.
6 people. Some are rubber bullets.
Some have no bullets, and then one has a bullet in them.
To give deniability, like, oh, I'm not the one that killed him.
And none of them know which one did it. So it's
No, but if 5 of them don't have bullets, then you would know. I thought it was rubber bullets.
maybe possibly
Something has to come out.
you can't see the bullet coming out.
Yeah, if you fire a blank, it feels like a bullet.
I've never shot a gun. I wouldn't know.
You've never shot a gun?
Never.
Whoa.
I'm scared of guns.
Surprising.
Yeah, that's really surprising. I mean,
But everyone should have them.
Yeah. Okay, nice. And we're back. But yeah, crazy life, crazy guy, and a pretty insane little cult sprouted up out of Japan.
wild.
Manson family.
Yes.
Mannings.
The Manning family.
Man. I forgot.
I had to get the joke out.
1969.
Archie Manning.
Archie Manning.
Archie Manson. Charles Manson. He's at the center of the Manson family cult. Twisted ideology and manipulation tactics that lead the group in this Manson family that basically is like just doing like violence against people in like the local area. Failed musician, unfortunately. Apparently he like auditioned for like the Monkees.
Oh, wow.
Like he like was like trying to get into like a bunch of stuff. He was like into like the Beatles. He was convinced that he convinced his followers that a race war, which he called Helter Skelter, was imminent. A conflict that would ultimately lead to a new world order where his family would reign supreme.
Have you ever heard of Helter Skelter?
The song?
Like if you listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the best. I did a little bit of research
Nice.
when you sent me the document, so I'm ready for this. All right. Okay. So it was more than Helter Skelter. There's 2 other songs on the White Album that like aided his beliefs in the race war, and it was Blackbird, which is a song about racial equality for black women during the civil rights argument, and Piggies, written by George Harrison, and it's about 3 little piggies. And apparently it's about like George Orwell's Animal Farm. And but what's funny about Helter Skelter is that the Beatles were like, let's make just like a fucking heavy song.
Yeah.
But the song is about a slide in a theme park. And it's just about them going, when I get to the bottom, I'm just going to go right back to the top and ride the ride again. So it's really cute. And then Manson's like,
interesting.
Race war.
I mean, the album didn't help.
Yeah, wait, which album is that? That's White Album?
The White Album.
The White Album.
Could have called it the Black and White and Brown and All Equal album.
The All Lives Matter album.
All Lives Matter album.
But they didn't. Life in the Manson family was a communal living and sort of like utopia sort of idea.
Yeah.
But Manson exercised absolute control over his followers, who are often referred to as the kids. And he was using the same old tactics, love bombing, emotional manipulation to create a bond between them. And he also used a lot of drugs. Specifically LSD.
Where are they located?
California, right?
Yeah,
LA?
California, but they bounced a couple different places.
Okay.
It was mostly West Coast. And they were using LSD basically almost as like a ceremonial thing to like strengthen his bond with them.
Well, isn't the rumor that Manson was part of MK Ultra?
Some people have suggested that.
Yeah.
And like he also had connections with like weird organizations as a kid. Like he was like a proper like drifter his whole life.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they were able to get like some attention because he was able to like he was like more public, I guess, and was like gaining some notoriety within the local community. The most notorious of his acts against the people in the community, basically that he believed was like trying to overthrow the world order. And the main one that everyone talks about is August 8th, 1969. they carried out an attack on actress Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the most like fucked up thing ever. Like there's a famous picture of like the husband in front of the house, like after the murder. Like what the fuck?
Wasn't the husband Woody Allen?
Yeah.
Let me find out.
Or this was like Woody Allen's side piece?
Roman Polanski.
Roman
Yeah,
Polanski.
I was
And then
gonna
he
say
touched
it's the
kids.
other guy that had some. He's the other great director who also did some weird, fucked up shit.
Well, what did the Roman Polanski?
Polanski openly admitted to having sex with an underage girl. I think she was 14. He fled to France, and now he can't come back to America.
He's still in France.
He's still in
To this
France,
day.
and
so.
he still
Yeah.
directs movies. And
Let's separate the art from the artist.
he can't accept any of the awards in America that he wins.
Why is he winning awards still?
I mean, have you seen his
Good
movies?
movies.
I've never seen any of his movies, to be honest with you.
You like Billie Jean, right?
The tennis player?
No, the song.
That's really cute. That was a fun little back and forth.
I don't know anything about Polanski, I'll be honest with you.
No, but I was trying to make a point. Like Michael Jackson allegedly did stuff, but his music's banging. That's why he can receive awards.
Allegedly, I think Michael Jackson was also convicted. Correct?
Michael
No,
Jackson was
he went
never
on
convicted.
trial.
Oh, okay.
Did he go on trial? I didn't
Yeah.
think he went on trial.
He went on that. So like, we're more or less the same age. So like, when we grew up, we just remember Michael Jackson in court, looking scary as
The only
hell.
thing I remember Michael Jackson's was blanket over the balcony.
You know where that was?
No.
Berlin.
Oh.
Fun fact.
Oh, wow. Basically, they carry out this attack on Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
They, she is pregnant,
Mhm.
and they have 4 other people staying at the house, and all of them are murdered. The following night, Manson ordered another gruesome attack, resulting in the death of Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. Same exact thing. They go in, murder the whole family. And in the wake of the murders, an investigation is revealed that Manson is basically influencing his followers through drugs, but also all these cult manipulation tactics to get them to carry out these murders. The trial that followed exposed the disturbing reality of the group, blend of devotion, manipulation, higher power, apocalypse, and then ultimately them taking over the ultimate reign of the New World Order.
Yeah.
And
He did the attacks on Sharon Tate, to hopefully instill a race riot.
Yeah.
Basically. And then he was hoping that race riot would destabilize like the country, basically. Like it would like spread over the whole course of the country.
yes.
So a white man killed a white woman, and he thought a race war was going to happen.
Yeah, I don't get why that was going to cause a race
Is he
war.
like racist, or does he want racial equality?
Racist.
I would say he wants racial inequality to happen so that he can take over.
So he killed one of his own.
I guess. I don't know why the murder of Sharon Tate was going to cause.
Did they? Oh, that's another interesting point. Did they know that was Sharon Tate?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
She's like a famous actress at the time.
And her home address was like known.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it was on like Star Maps, and like people would go
was
do
like
like
in Beverly
celebrity tours and like go see her house. Be like, oh wow,
Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
another great movie I never saw.
Really?
Nope.
It's phenomenal.
He's eventually convicted of murder, and then that becomes like a massive moment, and he's like a symbol of the dark side of like 1960s like hippie counterculture.
Yeah.
And there's like a music element, and then his trial is publicized, and his depositions are released, and you just see him in these depositions looking crazy. You've seen the videos.
Dude, the videos are objectively hilarious.
Yeah, he's insane.
He's just like that, and then he does a little jig.
You think he's doing it on purpose? Like just to like
No, I think
play
he's
up
crazy.
the media
I
thing?
think he's crazy. Did he already have the swastika tattoo?
When?
Like you know how he has that tattoo right in between his
Yeah.
eyebrows. Did he have it already?
I don't know if he got it there.
Or did he get it
like,
in prison?
I wonder if he got it in prison.
Okay, then obviously he doesn't want
I would
racial
imagine they
equality.
don't let him in general pop in prison, but I have no idea. Yeah, that one's crazy. And he's probably the most famous cult leader.
Got him.
Him and Jim Jones, yeah. They have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the most like iconic one. Like
Yeah.
in terms of like his like
Reach and everything.
touch on culture specifically.
Can you pull up the video of him on trial? Because it's so funny.
I don't think I've seen this video.
Dude, this video is so goddamn funny. It's like he's on Adderall, 3 cups of cold brew from Oslo, and he's just like bouncing off the walls.
People look at you today, 20 years later, and they still have no idea what you're about. Tell me in a sentence who you are.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think this is just a fucking crazy guy, dude.
A tramp, a punk. close to me.
Wow.
Bar.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah, that's crazy.
Like terrifying.
Yeah, that's like one of those where you like, he's not he's aware of the world around him, but he's in a different plane than you are.
He's not there.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's just like he does drugs all the time and is like,
Maybe rot his brain out or something.
yeah.
Yeah, well, if you do LSD and you have like a history of mental illness, that'll like expedite it coming to life.
Yeah. He's
And-
also, according to this, a proper white supremacist.
Yeah, I think he was like cool with the KKK.
He said that black people would rise up and kill the entire white population except for Manson and his followers. And
He's talking about the NBA.
I don't think he was talking about the NBA, I'll be honest. But he did say that they were going to need a white man to lead them. And so he was like, they're gonna take over, and then they're gonna need us, and then we are gonna serve as like the leader of this new country that's basically created after a race war.
Wow.
Wait, this is what, 60s?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so there was civil rights is at a peak. We have Vietnam. Like the country is so chaotic. I'm like, you can like during COVID, this shit was crazy, but like back then, we're fighting an endless war. We have, Selma and what happened there, and the country was just so fucking messed up. And then you have like these hippies trying to like bring everything together. Then you have these fucking
And
Mansons.
he's a symptom of like the dark side of like that cultural
Isn't there like a
revolution.
conspiracy that they sort of let him run free? The CIA, FBI, like let him get larger and get bigger, and sort of like they knew about him and they knew that he was like sort of a problem. Instead of like sort of like kiboshing it when it was smaller, they were like, let's let him sort of
Yeah,
run
I had
with it.
heard
He
this
had long
before.
hair. He was a hippie, like, and it was a good way of like sort of painting the hippie movement as bad, and like this
Yeah.
is the bad side of it.
Yeah, these are the anti-war people that actually murder everyone.
Yeah.
And so I've heard that before.
I
Haven't
don't
been
know
able to
like
get
legitimacy
info.
of any of that, but I have heard that, and that's like one of the talking points when people talk about this.
That's
Like,
the story.
they let him
And
go.
he gets into prison, and he goes into a bunch of parole hearings and lives a long fucking time.
In prison.
Yeah.
Wonder what prison they had him in.
Did he die
Corcoran
during our
prison.
lifetime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corcoran Prison is where he is. It's a male-only prison in California.
Huh.
And in 2017, he's being held there. And they basically, TMZ reports that his doctors consider him too weak for surgery. And he basically gets ill. And then he dies of cardiac arrest and resulting from respiratory failure brought on by colon cancer, November 19th, 2017.
Wow.
A long time.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
What? How old was he when he died?
I mean, let me tell you, he's old as hell, probably. 83.
Wow.
83 years old. This guy had a long life after murdering all these people. I mean, that's crazy.
And did he have any like notoriety? Like, you ever hear those stories where like they're in prison and they like still have power or like still have control of anything?
I don't know what his power was in prison, but obviously becomes like a cultural icon
Yeah.
Yeah.
where like people like are using him in songs, and they're using him like the Rolling Stones like runs him as like a cover story in the 70s. Like he's like famous
Yeah.
for running this cult and all these murders.
But when he went to prison, I think the Manson movement kind of, trailed off.
Kind of, but then some of like the survivors and the other members like now are, sort of in culture, and like they're doing media and like press and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, like the ones that did the murders get arrested, but then there's other people that are like connected to it that don't. And yeah, he lives in prison from the 60s all the way into, a couple years ago.
Wow. What cult was Joaquin Phoenix born into? Was that Children of God?
Joaquin Phoenix was in a cult?
Yeah. So Joaquin Phoenix, River Phoenix, all the brothers came up in a cult.
Children of God.
Yeah, they came up in Children of God, and then they fled young and they moved to California to get away from it. And they used to have a different last name, and then their parents let them pick their own first and last names. Maybe the first names thing was
No, I
incorrect.
think it was just the last name.
And they were Phoenixes because they rose from the ashes and started their own lives again.
That's so tough.
Sick, right?
Also, I'm glad they didn't choose their first names because that's kind of arrogant. You give yourself a sick name.
Joaquin, River, and Leaf was the third one.
I think so.
And then Joaquin, River was like the original actor, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He was like the biggest of the group.
He
And
was
then-
in Stand By Me.
Yeah.
There's
was
another
Joaquin.
thing he was in. Joaquin was in Stand By Me?
I think so. And
I don't think so.
maybe I'm incorrect, but
Yeah.
River then dies tragically of an overdose.
Yeah.
And then Joaquin now is like carried in
Joker.
Yeah.
yeah, the Joker.
River was handsome.
Yeah. It basically started in the 60s and 70s by this guy, David Berg,
Another David.
This is Children of God.
Children of God.
That's the fourth David.
also
Or
known
third
as
David.
also known as the Family.
Yeah. That's why I was getting confused with the Manson shit. I was like, I think this is the one.
The Manson
Phoenix is-
family and then the Family.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, I was hoping you were going to get to the Phoenix stuff, and I was like, no, it's a different cult.
He positioned himself as a prophet, claiming to receive direct revelations from God. His initial teachings attracted a diverse group of disillusioned youths, drawn to his vision of communal lifestyle and rejected traditional morality. He preached that love was the ultimate expression of faith and that his followers embraced a radical reinterpretation of Christian doctrine. At first, the message of love and freedom resonated deeply, promising a life of unfettered social norms. However,
so far, not bad.
as the movement gained traction, it takes a dark turn. The family embraced the practice of flirty fishing, which encouraged female members to engage in sexual relationships with outsiders as a means of recruiting them into the fold.
Honeypotting.
Basically.
Yeah.
This disturbing tactic blurred the lines of consent and preyed on the vulnerabilities of both members and unsuspecting individuals, turning what was meant to be a message of love into a tool of exploitation. And then there's a bunch of child abuse, like life within the family is like strict control, hierarchical dominance. The members were isolated from the outside world, indoctrinated to believe that only within the group could they find true salvation. His charisma and leadership created an environment where questioning authority was seen as betrayal. Those who dared to dissent faced severe repercussions, including emotional manipulation, shunned by their peers. And as their life kind of becomes, more and more publicized, they start getting investigated, and reports of abuse and exploitation emerge, basically detailing a culture that prioritized loyalty to the group over individual rights. Children raised within the family were subjected to rigid discipline, often indoctrination from young age, to accept the cult's teachings. Many grew up grappling with the psychological scars of their upbringing, struggling to reconcile their experiences with the outside world.
There's a clear blueprint for cults.
Yeah.
These stories are all the same.
That one has the most prolific
Membership?
membership, though.
Are they still going to this day?
Well, they just had 2 great actors that came out. That were actually the Nexium one had some fucking members.
Yeah, but they were like brought in later. I mean, Joaquin was born into
Yeah,
this.
that's true. They're the best farm team. They definitely they drafted well.
Yeah.
Nexium did a great job at like bringing some high.
Yeah, Allison Mack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Allison Mack from Smallville.
Smallville?
Yeah.
Great
Dude,
show.
you guys, used to love that show. What
Okay,
was
so
it?
did you not know?
No.
about this? Okay, so the woman who played,
The love interest.
no, not Lana, Lois.
Isn't Lois the one that's
No,
Superman?
Lana Lang was a different thing. But if I'm not mistaken, and I might be incorrect, sorry, everybody, don't send me bad comments. I'm trying hard this episode. Allison Mack joined a cult called Nexium, which is spelled very weirdly, NXVU or M or something.
Okay, yeah.
It was like a sex cult, and she was one of like the highest profile members of it. And it was based in California, if I'm not mistaken.
Can I see a
Upstate
photo?
New York.
Can I see a-
Upstate New York.
Can I see a photo over?
And within Nexium, so there was like, there was Nexium, and then there was a smaller group within Nexium that had like the women that you expected. Yeah,
I
not
don't
the
remember
dark-haired
that
girl.
face.
But within Nexium, there's a smaller group that was like this like elite, almost like all woman sorority on the inside. That was like the top tier thing to get into, but you had to do really fucked up stuff, and there was like a sexual component to it that you had to sleep with the lead member of Nexium to get into the higher group. And
He was branding them with his initials.
This is
Like actual brand.
Yeah.
and in which he had like a really good cover story for. I think I don't remember his exact initials, but it was something that he was able to cover.
Keith Raniere is his name.
Yeah, and the brand looked a little bit like something else, and
It
he
was
able
a symbol, but like his initials were hidden within the
Yeah.
symbol. They didn't know it was his initials.
Yeah. So then Allison Mack recruited people to join the inner group, and there was like sexual abuse that came on or whatever. And she ended up going to jail
Yep.
for like 13 years.
Is this during her fame?
She gets put up. No. She gets put up in 2013.
Yeah, 2013 is when it all kind of starts to dissolve. 2013, 2014.
Okay.
So she went through Smallville.
Such a good show.
Yeah, great show.
But yeah,
Great.
apparently the name Nexium comes from the ancient Roman system, like the ancient Roman numeral system that basically translates in like Latin to the system of debt and bondage, known in Latin as Nexium.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
And he like kind of switched around the letters to make it Nexium.
Jesus.
Which is also, I think, like a prescription drug, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds like it.
Look
Try
it up.
Nexium.
I think it is. That was so fun. Look it up. But yeah, that's like the more not most famous, but like one of the highest profile people. Is it?
Nexium is a prescription PPI used in adults for healing and symptom relief of acid-related damage to the esophagus.
Yeah, acid reflux. It's like a purple and yellow box. You not remember these commercials when you were a kid?
No.
I did not know this is. Do they change the name?
They have to.
No, but that's weird that you guys.
I've never heard of Nexium.
I've never heard of the drug
the
Nexium.
Villages commercial, but you don't remember Nexium commercials?
The Villages.
1-800-588-2300.
It's so weird. You don't-
Nexium today.
Nexium commercials were sort of memorable to me. I don't know why.
So the difference is like Joaquin escaped. This girl was a star
Yes.
And they got recruited
on the
in.
best show on television.
On 2002's hit CW show.
Smallville.
Smallville.
Did they? I feel like they had like a memorable theme song. I forget how it went.
Smallville banged. It was a
Smallville.
good show.
Dude, the lead actor. I forget.
Welling?
But he was in. Wait, what?
Tom Welling?
Was that his name? He was in Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yeah, Tom Welling.
He's like the old son. Hunk.
so handsome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And even later in life, super handsome. Now
No,
he's
he
salt
got
and pepper.
chubs.
Fuck off.
He never joined the cult.
Yeah, he never joined the cult.
No,
There's
he was
another
Superman.
woman.
The Bronfman sisters
Yes.
were like very wealthy heirs to like the Seagram family.
Yep.
Like basically the family that made like Seagram's ginger ale. They also have like a bunch of beverages, billionaires. And they were
Ginger ale?
they were allegedly, I should say, involved in sort of like funding this group.
There was one other actress, and I can't remember who it is, Allison Mack, and maybe it was another woman from Smallville, but there was one other actress that she brought into the group, but then sort of was like, I'm not cool with this group. Like, I don't really get what's going on. She never made it far enough to see the abuse.
She can get the inner sanctum.
And she is still a famous actress to this day.
Kristen Kruick.
Yes.
Can I see a photo of her?
And then Nikki Klein was another person.
Kristen Kruick is the woman who played, I think, the woman you're thinking of.
She had more.
Lana Lang.
No. I need to see the cast of Smallville because there's one person I'm thinking of.
It's crazy that you
I'm sorry I'm on my phone.
are so far off. But yes, Nexium's like a crazy cult, though.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly the it was Keith, what was it?
Keith Raniere.
Okay. And it was a sex thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, big time. And he would like kiss all the members and like he would pull them away from their families.
I am thinking of Allison Mack.
There
You
you go.
showed me a bad photo.
Okay. well.
That's on me. I'm not her publicist. Okay.
God, she was
Obviously.
hot.
And then what happened to Keith Raniere? The
He ends
leader?
up getting convicted.
For a long time, or
Yep. He's in prison now.
oh, he's in prison. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure going through like an appeals process and stuff. But yeah, they started like in Albany, upstate New York.
Wow.
Yeah. And one guy, basically, Frank Parlato Jr., who's the one that took him down. He used to work for them. He got hired to like do some work, like consulting work.
Oh wow.
And then he ends up
He
doing,
notices it's fuck shit.
he does the work that he's asked to do.
Okay.
And then they oust him and don't pay him.
Wow.
And then he basically makes his life mission to take them down.
So he's
And-
owed like probably a couple $100,000 for doing like some
Yeah.
thing for them.
Basically.
And
And
then-
then they try to sue him and intimidate him. And then he ends up taking him down.
Wow.
He actually came on the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That episode will be coming out in a few weeks.
Do we know what's
nice
it?
plug.
October 11th right now? Just to bring it back to a former tangent, how did Joaquin and River escape?
Their parents left the cult, or the mom left the cult. Maybe the dad didn't, but the mom left the cult. They ended up in California and were homeless, if I'm not mistaken. And then the kids got into like community theater programs, maybe through the school or like through the LA sort of like system, and were
Show
noticed
business.
as like good actors, and then were children actors like pretty young,
Yeah.
early into their lives. But they got out mad early through the mother, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Remember Joaquin did that interview on like Jimmy Kimmel or like Seth Meyers, and he was just like noticeably quiet. And he's just like, the guy saying jokes, and he's just like, I don't.
No, I never saw this.
Oh yeah, he doesn't want to be there.
He doesn't want to be there. And that was my first exposure to Joaquin Phoenix. I'm like, oh, this guy's insane.
He's like contractually obligated, I think, through certain movies to do pressers.
He was
And, like,
promoting her.
to do like these things. He's also a method actor, if I'm not mistaken. So he's doing a presser on like Kimmel. I think it is Kimmel. And
Yeah.
Kimmel's like trying to be funny and like get him like to laugh. And Kimmel's like one of the OGs. He's been doing this shit forever.
He's a pussy.
And
Thanks, Christos.
leave that shit in. Kimmel's like an OG and is trying to get him to like laugh and stuff. And he is just fucking stonewalling. Like just
Wow.
like, it's a crazy video to watch. And he's like a dick. And then the news goes nuts about it. And they're like, Joaquin Phoenix is like, they just go nuts. Like, it's just such a big story. It was like 2011, probably.
What movie was he? It must have been Her.
I don't know.
Because
But-
I feel like after this press run, he wasn't in Hollywood for like the longest time.
Mm.
And then he came
He might have
back.
taken himself out of
Yeah, and then was his first big movie The Joker after all this?
I think so. And then Napoleon.
And Napoleon was horrible. Did you watch it?
Nah,
It was horrible.
Really?
Yeah. It
Kinda
was just
bummed
all
me
about
out.
like the love interest.
Are there any other cults that you can think of that you know about now that are like maybe more recent? Because Nexium,
QAnon is a cult.
Kind of, but it doesn't have like the same enigmatic, like
Yeah, it doesn't have
charismatic guy.
it doesn't have like a leader at the top.
Like that has like this sort
Alex
of,
Jones.
they have like this mystical guy on QAnon or on 4chan, but like he's not like
Yeah.
a person necessarily. And they also, it seems like a lot of cults now are like digital. Like that's what this guy Jennings was saying that I talked to. He's like,
What's an example of one? I don't know any.
The Rizzler.
there might be a
The
leader.
Five family or whatever they're called.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a couple. I don't necessarily want to say their names because again, they haven't been prosecuted.
Okay.
So like, if you call them a name,
Well,
then it's-
don't even say it. But like, there are they names that we would know?
no.
Okay, but they're
And the way like they work, I think I explained part of it to you, but like literally it's you have a Facebook group that's like, hey, heal your kid. Like your kid has eczema. We can help him. And then they give them like holistic natural healing methods through this Facebook group.
Got
And
it.
then they cure their children. And then they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, can you help me with like my marriage problems? And they're like, yes, actually. The fact that you healed your kid is just one thing. Like that's just the physical part. Now you need to cure your soul. And so now pay $10 a month to join like the inner group of this Facebook group. And
Pyramid scheme. Okay.
you can't talk to other people in the group. You can only talk through me. And so like they literally use like different social media platforms to like control the flow of information. And then they escalate more and more and more. And they're like, oh, your kid is like a latent bedwetter. It's probably because he's being abused. Who's abusing him? Who else is in the house? Oh, your husband's in the house? It's probably your husband doing it.
wow. So they flip the people against each other.
Against the people in their family and isolate them.
Oh.
And also, I imagine already the husband's like, honey, you got to get off the internet. Like, I married you because you were like a cool, like funny girl in college. And now you're just like already telling me crazy shit that we should like give our kids some.
And then the cult leader is like, by the way, when you tell your husband,
He's going to think you're crazy.
he's going to think you're crazy
Yeah.
and he's not going to understand you, but we understand you.
Yeah.
And so then the woman tells her husband, and the husband's like, babe, what are you talking about? And then they're like, see, he's already controlled by the opposition, by the spiritual underworld. You got to get out. And if you love your children, you have to take them with you.
Yeah.
And then they set them up with like other people in different countries or different cities. Like Florida and the Panhandle was like a spot for this one specific cult this guy Jennings was telling me about. And it's like, yeah, go there. They have like pretty free, like, you know, religious laws. They're not going to prosecute you. And you can live in a house with 8 or 9 other people that all have gone to the same place.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, the cult leader, the woman, is doing it all remotely in Hawaii. And so she's living out there, getting money from everyone and then
She's got
controlling
cash.
everyone through these like media platforms. And there's so many Netflix documentaries.
Yeah.
Like there's one that I just saw the other day. It's like, I forget the name of it. But literally it's like a bunch of people living in like the middle of the country. I think it was like Wyoming or like Arkansas.
Yeah.
And what?
just so far
Kind
from
of different.
each other.
Yeah.
Middle.
Yeah.
It's middle-ish.
Yeah.
But I forget exactly where it was. I'm like conflating two cults. But basically, like they had this woman in this house, and they were doing like the bunch of social media stuff and recruiting people to come in and join for like a session, and then all the same cult tactics.
Wow.
And then this woman ended up dying. She like got sick and like didn't do any medicine. She just did like what do they call it? Colloidal silver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she basically like embalmed her body from the inside.
Wow.
And then her like dead corpse was still in the house for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks
Wow.
because she was going to resurrect.
Wow.
And then her mom was the one that was like, hey, I haven't heard from my daughter. She's like running this organization. I don't really know what the deal is. And the police go in and investigate. Person's just dead.
I feel like cults would be more popular today because I feel like there's more impressionable people in the world now.
And the reach is way higher.
And the reach is way
But I
higher.
don't think these people like sort of want to ride with it. Like it's sick to be a part of a cult online, or it's sick to be like sort of questioning shit online. But if they're like, hey, you got to move to New Mexico and live in a dirt hut with me, a lot of people who are like in the comfort of their home being like, is this even real? Like questioning stuff online, or like,
yeah, my guess is that there's probably more cults, but they're not as deep.
yeah, because back in the day, if you were willing to like move to Guyana or like have children with this fucking guy, like you really had to be like a very specific person, and the tube is so skinny but
Yeah.
also so deep. Nowadays, I feel like
The reach is wider, but it doesn't go as
And there's
deep.
also other alternatives. Like if you are an isolated person in the middle of the country, you don't necessarily need to join a cult. You could just find like a Pokemon group.
You
know
just
what I mean?
shitpost
And like,
online.
and like you have
Yeah, exactly.
other
Yeah.
connections and like more stable, less cult-like relationships you can build on the internet
Yeah.
in the same vein.
Yeah.
yeah.
Pretty wild.
What's the one? And I just want to bring this up because I think I was conflating Waco. You were just explaining that you were conflating two cults. I think I conflated a little bit of Waco with the one that was up in Washington State or Idaho or Oregon, where there was like a major military, not military, a major like ATF standoff. What
Is this Wild Wild Country, that documentary? Is it the Indian guru that was controlling it?
No, it was similar to Waco. There was a guy like up in the woods and they wanted to come get him. I can't remember where.
No.
Damn, I'm not going to remember it.
There's plenty of cults. Like this is just like a short list of like hundreds that I was like breezing over.
Yeah.
Like there's some that happened in like Ghana that like 800 people died. Like these were like New Testament guys. They were basically like
The Catholics?
no, they were like, again, kind of like an offshoot of like kind of sort of postmodern Christianity type thing. Yeah. And they were like, we are going to follow the 10 Commandments perfectly.
Yeah.
So perfectly that they're like, okay, we don't want to like lie or speak ill of someone, so we're just not going to talk. So none of them, like a lot of them took a vow of like silence. So they're like, we're not going to talk. And then they were controlled by like one major pastor, and ultimately like 800 of them died.
There was a cult once that talked about not, like they were a purity cult, so they wouldn't have sex. And the cult just died out over time because none of them were having kids.
Hilarious.
Isn't that so funny?
Horrible planning.
Yeah.
But it is very funny that like, because they can't recruit at the same time that they're dying, like it just slowly
Go away.
faded out.
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like that was like a lot of like old religions, like all these like old like mystery schools and stuff, like from way back in the day.
Yeah.
Like they were like prominent religions at a specific time, like the Mithras was like a famous like mystery school that was like populated by a bunch of generals in ancient Greece at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was a similar thing where like it was so secretive and so like they were operating within like caves and stuff, and like they weren't really having kids, and they were just so dedicated to this god Mithra that eventually they just die out.
There's also so many people that are like these like crazy stories of really committed people in history who are really dedicated to their own brand of like quote unquote crazy or whatever their dedication is, but they don't seem to have the want to bring other people in. There's a guy who like lived on a tower his whole life. There's the other guy who like held his arm up and it rotted away. Like,
I love that photo.
He's still alive. That level of dedication,
He's still rolling,
of just like having your arm above your head rotting away above you, is the same amount of dedication that it takes to probably create a fucking good cult.
Yeah.
He just didn't have the want to spread more, or like the ideology that he's like God himself or whatever, and that others should follow him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just was like, I ride with my God and he's asked me to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. You need like a combination of a couple things, like, which is like
almost a sociopathy.
You need to be, you need some type of pathology. Like you need to believe that you are God in some form.
And you want people to follow that you're God.
Yeah, and then a desire for like intense control.
Yeah.
And then also mixed with like a proper delusion that you think, oh,
you
God is
be,
talking
like,
to me.
charming and social and like,
yeah,
it's fascinating. Cult leaders are like a very specific thing. And then I imagine cult followers are also like a very specific pathology.
Yeah.
And once those two things fall together, the magnetism is like too big.
Yeah. And if you know someone that's in a cult, the advice that I got from this guy Jennings, he was like, just ask. Don't tell him not to go. Don't tell him to get out. Because that's a part of the cult programming, and that if you say, oh, don't go to that, this is a cult, that's a part of the program that they tell you that people are going to say about you.
Don't do,
They're like, people are going to think you're crazy. Don't listen to them.
Yeah, so he's almost like, be supportive. Like, be curious. Be
Reverse
like,
psychology.
Yeah, be like, oh, how was your meeting? Like, what did you guys talk about? Like, if I'm interested, like, what like are the tenets of it?
And then they start to notice, like, I don't want to say what it's about out loud because it's making me feel uncomfortable.
You're like, oh, why can't you share it? And then just be genuine and like ask like actual questions. And ultimately the hope is that, again, they're not reasoned into this place, so you can't really reason them out of it.
Yeah.
But if you're able to like ask sort of leading and inquisitive questions to get them to a position where they're like, is this a cult?
Yeah.
That's really the most effective way to get people out.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's your favorite cult leader?
Man, whoever fucked the most.
Nice.
Mine's Tony Dungy.
Who's that? Is he on a football player?
Tony Dungy was the coach.
I'm
when they
out
won
of
the
here.
Super Bowl.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this, our poorly researched episode about cults, okay? Next week, we got something else. Give it up for Miles for redeeming himself, finally.
You did well.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to comment negative stuff. And hopefully this turns...
I'm going to
You'll see me top comment.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that would be fun. Let's just comment who we think is better this episode, David or Miles.
I didn't. I put in a poor performance. Also, I'm going to have to ask Christos to cut a bunch of racist things I said.
Well,
including that.
That might help, actually. You might want to leave those in. Anyway, thank you all so much. This has been an episode of Camp.